looking like I had a stroke or something.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're live, and no, I did not have a stroke. I just looked that way. Um, welcome everybody, kitchen sink microscopy, and we're trying something a little bit new with the whole memberships thing. So if you see something pop up when it says you'd like to live chat and it says you need to be a member or something, don't freak out because it's not super expensive. It's like $2 a month. So just gonna give it a try, see how it goes.
Yeah. We're trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, it's not like we'll actually like make a living off of that either. So
No.
Just trying to make ends meet a little bit. But yeah, we feel like we have some really good topics lately, and we're actually kind of moving toward a grander goal with all of it, and it would be great if people could be a part of that and chip in just a little bit of what's the word you use sometimes, doubloons or curmudgeons or
ducats.
Yeah. Doubloons.
That would be amazing. Give me a couple doubloons, man.
couple of rupees.
Yeah, rupees. Yeah. So I mean, you had a kind of a Substack thing. I believe it was Substack that you.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was written by that Christopher Armitage, if I'm saying that correctly. I think he was a politician, maybe not anymore, but so he's got like a lot of inside scoop and know-how on the law and how things work and stuff. And it was basically this article about I mean, I've seen this before in both sides of the fence, of the imaginary fence that doesn't really exist.
Mm-hmm.
Have tried to use this tactic before, and it's basically withholding tax revenue that you collect as a state, withholding it from the Fed, kind of as ransom, basically, in effect, to say like, hey, unless we have some assurances that you're not going to misappropriate these funds with stupid wars and other illegal shit, we're just going to hang on to this, put it in escrow, and you can get it when you behave. So it's almost like forcing a checks and balances situation where, I mean, there should already be those checks and balances, but hey, lo and behold, corruption happens.
Yeah, on all sides. Don't think that your party is immune to it.
Yeah.
The idea is kind of similar to what we've talked about in the past of like kind of ad hoc sort of like what you had a term for like picking and choosing where things go,
right? A la carte.
Yeah. And that kind of makes sense. And people are like, oh, but you can do that through voting. Yeah. No, you can't. No, you can't. You cannot do that through voting. Everything's corrupt. And now I don't know how confident I feel in handing that kind of decision making over to like a particular state. I think you're still going to run into the same bullshit, no matter what.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, it's not a perfect solution by any means. It's more, as I understood it, like one state doing that doesn't have enough power. It has to be several states kind of banding together. And of course, maybe one of them is going to have to stand up and be the brave one that does it first, of course. But
yeah,
it would probably make it easier for them to do so if they kind of had some assurances that others would follow suit. But with that kind of sway, I think they were going for like 15 states could theoretically pull this off. Then it makes a big enough dent in the revenue.
I think you can probably detect the potential flaw in this plan, in that you're going to have quote unquote blue states doing the pulling one way, and then quote unquote red states pulling another way. And it's going to be this like tug of war. And
Yeah,
but then you know what? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe
I think
that
it
will
is.
expose the lunacy of the entire system, and you know, maybe put the federal government on its heels.
And frankly, I mean, there's a couple of bugs in the system as far as I see it, but it doesn't mean it shouldn't happen. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be tried.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it would shake things up enough, and uh, and yeah, of course, like one of the flaws I see is that yeah, the federal government might be like, yeah, we will do these things with your money. Now hand it over. And then of course they'll just go and do whatever the fuck they want anyway.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head right there. They're gonna,
That's what they do. But
it's all pillow talk. That's
yeah,
what politics is. And but I mean, you know, I guess
but for all that it is, it would be enough of an annoyance, enough of a speed bump that it might still act as a deterrent. Like, oh shit, if now that states figured out that they can do this and create enough waves and slow our roll in what we want to do with our money, um,
mm-hmm.
you know, maybe then it would give them pause, maybe.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting at is like I would like to see the federal government knocked back a bit,
Yeah.
like having to like, whoa, wait a minute, you know, we don't have supreme authority over everything.
Yeah.
And that would be good. I mean, I could see some, maybe this ought to also happen on the state level too, with like counties and their tax collection and whatnot.
Yeah, why not?
Cities,
Like
that well,
corruption can happen anywhere. So
oh yeah, yeah. Well, and once you get to the state level, like in the US, it's pretty significant. And well, like for instance, in Washington
Of course, how far down do you have that go? Should it also extend to the individual?
maybe. Well, I would like to see that where it's like, okay, if you're extracting this like part of my life's earnings from me, I want it to go to something that I feel is good, that will do something good,
right?
And
like,
not nonsense.
If consent of the governed is truly a thing,
yeah,
the voice of each individual should carry some weight, and you actually have no way to flex that weight without being able to voluntarily withhold your tax contributions, without, you know, just an immediate stamp of felony, being like, you know, like, oh, like we don't have to listen to your grievances, you're a felon, you know, like
oh,
you've
shit.
just
then
hurt the government,
and then now, actually, dude, you got it too, because like at that point now they've taken away your Second Amendment rights and your right to vote. So damned if you do, damned if you don't, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, like, the grander scheme of things that I see in this, because, you know, I think the Substack post was trying to push this out to kind of make it like legal, hard and fast legal, which of course will never happen, right?
No, the government's never going to relinquish any control at all whatsoever.
But I feel like the idea is good enough that we should kind of earmark that in our manual for making the world a better place as something to incorporate into the foundational documents of a new system.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because
it's just one other way to prevent corruption, you know?
Yeah, I think it's something worth considering. and probably more brilliant minds than mine will, or ours will come up with the right way to do it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a thing to consider. Because in all of this, I'm like, everybody thinks they have it sussed. They know everything. They have the right way. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. No, we're all idiots. Nobody knows anything. Nobody has the right way because, well, we haven't tried a bunch of stuff. We don't even consider things, and we should consider ideas from people and test them out in like a little petri dish, essentially. And that's why I'm a firm believer in a form of balkanization,
Yeah.
where, like, okay, if say like the US has a federal government, it's more just kind of a keeping the peace sort of thing, where, like, okay, well, we'll settle disputes, like organize if there's an emergency of any sort, that kind of thing, like, because you do need something like that. But beyond that, in the day to day, they don't do anything. Like, I
Yeah.
want to see the federal government being like a, I don't know, like a fire department in a rural town where they're just like playing cards all day long until a fire happens. And then when the fire happens, they rally. But like day to day, I want to see them doing nothing. Don't just stop. Do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, why you're constantly legislating, constantly flipping the script. Like, stop that.
Yeah.
Like, I I don't know. That pisses me off. And yet, and then of course they're propagandizing to the public to get them to participate in their stupid games. And you know what they say about playing stupid games: you win stupid prizes. So it, and well, I mean, I think here we are holding a bag full of stupid ass prizes. Um, and like, well,
Mm-hmm.
how did that happen?
Yeah, I wonder if yeah, I wonder if that would ever actually be attempted in the current state of the United States. Like, um, it would certainly, like, now is a good time to try it because I feel like there's still enough of the infrastructure that remaining that these attempts to still play by the existing rules could actually still work.
Mm.
Like there are a number of legal precedent sort of things that could still be done to, like, stop the downward spiral towards tyranny, and none of them are really being acted upon.
Well,
And
it's not
it's
even, it's not only like potential for tyranny, but also just economic collapse,
yeah.
which also leads to tyranny. So either way,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
like, and I think you're right that it is a good time because people, even people supportive of government, are fed up with the status quo.
Yeah.
Um, they they're like, well, I mean, you know, let's say the current administration in the U.S., the federal administration, there's a lot of people who supported it, voted in favor, and now they're like, well, what? No, this isn't what we voted for. You
Yeah.
know, what war?
Especially when their wives are getting deported by ICE, and then they're like,
Well,
"Oh, I'm not voting for Trump again."
well, but then
Well,
it's
you
like, okay,
probably wouldn't be able to anyway legally. But
and
okay.
but I'd like to see people realize the answer is not voting for the opposition, because
Right.
the opposition, like, they're going to do the same shit, it just from a different angle. Like, we have to, like, it has to end. It has to stop. People have to get fed up and be like, enough is enough. I'm done with this shit. In my
I,
opinion.
I I have to say I'm experiencing Schadenfreude uh, at, at the DNC kind of flailing its arms and throwing a little hissy fit that their favorite candidates aren't the ones winning like all these little smaller elections around the country right now. And it's like, yeah, like even if these newcomers aren't the best, it's different. You know, it's not what the establishment wants, which is, if anything, signals to me that it's probably a good thing for the rest of us, you know.
I don't think those candidates are the right candidates, but it does, like, it is a signal of like people are kind of done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party really fucked up.
Well, and you can yes, and you can look within the Republican Party, same sort of thing. There's a pushback against like the old guard.
Well, they've already split the Republican Party effectively. People call themselves Trump Republicans or classic Republican, even though classic Republicans are kind of dead now anyway. Like,
well,
it's morphed so much over.
It has, and there's this kind of, I guess if it were a Venn diagram, there's this intersection of people that are more like libertarian, that like you have the classical Democrat, like Kennedy Democrat, like old school JFK Democrat, that and then you have the old school Republicans before the neocons took over, and they're like basically share very similar values. And so I feel like there might be a new party that emerges out of this. I mean, even in Washington State, with the drummer from Nirvana is running like a third party now. I can't remember. I heard about it on the radio or something, but like
Dave Grohl. You mean the bass player then?
A bass player, sorry.
Yeah,
bass player. Yeah, not the
he
drummer.
already was in politics.
Yeah,
after Nirvana, I forget what he did, like state senate or something like that.
But, yeah, but it's like he's advocating for things that are a lot more sensible than like what's currently going on. Where like, oh yeah, if you're a little bit right leaning or a little bit left leaning, yeah, okay, that's pretty agreeable. And which most people are a little bit to one side or the other in that regard. And I don't even like the idea of defining that, because I feel like it separates people. It's like, no, we're human beings with our own views and our own experiences that mold us. And why put people into a box?
Yeah.
What and then why do you have to put yourself in a box? Why not just be like, well, yeah, there's some stuff that I believe in and some stuff that I like or I don't like, or I want it to be done this way or that way. Like, I'd love to see the dissolution of both the DNC, like the Democrats and the Republicans, just fucking fall apart and it just implode. And then what emerges will be some kind of new thing.
Yeah. I kind of a long time ago, I stopped looking at them as Republicans and Democrats. And even like on the grander scheme of like the voting field, like the voters and stuff. Yeah. I just see people who are brainwashed or who are not brainwashed.
Yes. That's a good way to put it. Yep.
Because that brainwashing is definitely in both camps, because it's all emanating from one camp, which is the elites. So, and
the elites, and they want to control things.
Yeah.
And we're allowing them to control us by participating, by playing their stupid game. And we wonder why we keep winning stupid prizes. Like, well, because I mean, come on.
And part of me, like a skeptical part of me, wonders if all of these wins from democratic socialists and stuff like that are all part of the next play. Like is this just the next little bit of political theater designed to grasp the last little bit of hope and pull people away from the edge of the abyss just long enough to keep them playing the same stupid game over and over?
I think so.
I would, oh, our voting does work. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like
Yep. Well, and time will tell, but my guess is that they're going to do the same stuff that other politicians who came before did, and they're not going to bend to the will of the people. It'll be just the same old corruption, taking for themselves, making decisions that have no benefit to the general public, but on the surface look like it. Like, oh, look, here you go. Here's a little treat bag, but behind the scenes, they're pulling the strings. And that's what I think is really, really important for people to recognize, that like they're not your friends. They're not benevolent. They're, I wouldn't say evil, but they're conniving. And their goals have nothing to do with with benefiting you. It has everything to do with benefiting themselves or the state or whatever. And that, oh, we have a comment.
Oh, hi.
Oh, won't get fooled again. Yeah, this reminds me of the song by The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again. Yeah.
There's an old saying in Texas: fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, we won't get fooled again.
Yeah, no, that is totally true. And we keep repeating the cycle, believing. I mean, this is like almost kind of like praying, where you're like, oh well, God works in mysterious ways. I just got to keep praying and hope that like things improve somehow or whatever. Which, well, I mean, I'm agnostic, so maybe God exists. I don't know, but I know that that's kind of a fool's errand.
Even as a kid, when I still was religious, I asked myself that very question, like, if a Republican and a Democrat are both praying to God for their candidate to win, whose prayer gets answered? Like it would actually be kind of a system of voting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like, would God be democratic, or would God be more of a dictator? It's really only the two options if you think about it. Like when you have the varying will of billions and billions of people, or multi-trillions if there's aliens.
Yeah, which there are.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be democratic or a dictator. You could also be a monarch, which is not necessarily a dictator. And
what is the difference, actually?
Well, I guess a dictator is, I mean, it's pretty similar, but like you could be a benevolent monarch, though, like somebody who can pull all the strings, but is a nice guy, which those are few and far between. Like those kinds of positions do tend to attract the kind of people who wish ill will.
It always ends up subjective, though, because if you're on the other end of that decision, you see it very differently.
Yeah.
The benevolent monarch to you is the evil dictator.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just the nature of democracy clashing with our egos, wanting to see things go our way, right?
True. Well, and democracy also has its flaws. Like every system has its flaws. Like, because if you had like a pure democracy, right, like a true full democracy, well, you can have like the majority can be an asshole too. Like imagine going back to, I don't know, pre-Civil War days in the US, the South. Yeah, of course. Like there's a lot of white people and they're going to vote for the black people to not have rights. Like of course, they're going to outnumber them. So like you can't have that either. And like, so like, I don't know the answer, but I think breaking things down to smaller sections to where it isn't so large as to be able to be oppressive would be a benefit. To like, okay, well, if you're oppressive, it's pretty easy to deal with. And like, if you had like neighboring, let's say it's like counties or something like that, everything's separated into counties. A neighboring county could look at their next door neighbor and be like, whoa, what are those guys doing? And they can come in and take care of it, handle business.
That brings up an interesting thought experiment. Should voting actually be random sampling? Like, not everybody gets to vote on everything, but
that's
a set amount of people, just a kind of like have a ceiling, but it's got to be totally randomly. And of course, there would have to be some kind of like serious controls on the randomization.
Yeah.
But that does make sense, actually. Like what you're saying about, like if you just had a bunch of white people voting for whether or not black people should have rights, there's a conflict of interest there. I don't know that that's actually how that really would have played out, or if there was more empathy than we're giving them credit for in the way the history was written, but
yeah,
it's still actually a valid point. And I wonder if that would be a better way of doing things to make sure that you're not just having people who have a bit of an agenda kind of vote on things,
Yeah. Well, and that example is more of like a thought experiment, sort of like looking into the future of, because you can look at how things are now, but we don't know what it's going to be in the future. So we have to protect against the future somehow.
Yeah.
And I maybe voting, instead of it being random, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but maybe not everybody should vote. It used to be landowners voted, which like kind of makes sense if you think about it, because like they are the ones that have like everything all kind of ties into that.
Well,
but it doesn't have to be that way.
With the idea I was talking about with like random sampling and stuff, what if you also like if you take an interest in wanting to voice your opinion and be a part of the voting pool, basically take like this aptitude survey that says like, here are the things that concern me, here are the things that I have some knowledge about, blah blah blah, and you'll be more likely to be voting on issues that you might have some clue about.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Like take a civics course or something, like where because like in a lot of states, Washington State included, like if you want to conceal carry a firearm, you got to take a class and go through things and get a certification, because with great power comes great responsibility, and voting is one of those things. Like you can affect change in a major way by voting. So maybe we should have something similar. And I know people are going to go down that path of like, oh well, who watches the watchers, and well, it's gonna get all,
we already have that problem,
but we do. Yes, exactly. But
if anything, this would eliminate some of that, at least,
yeah, well, absolutely, because then only the people who are actually engaged and conscious of, like, they have their finger on the pulse of things would make decisions by voting. and probably vote better. There wouldn't be this enormous pile of noise of people who just like check the D's or the R's or whatever because that's what they are. No, you'd have people who like think about it, and that I think would go a long way to improving things. It certainly couldn't be worse, I guess.
Right. Well, imagine like, you know, voting on issues of public health and safety. Like, I would rather have scientists and doctors and people above a certain education level, even with just basic understanding of some of this stuff, voting on that rather than diluting it down with people that think you can put mind control microchips inside of a vaccine and have it not get crushed by the fucking syringe on its way into your body, and like how did it even get to your fucking brain, and like
we have like shrunk technology down very small, but there's no way it's going to fit through that needle. Like anything that could do anything,
that'd be so sophisticated as to control the brain, which we don't even understand.
We couldn't even do it if we had a whole machine, like a room-sized machine.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like a little thing that, whatever. And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good, I do like the idea of like decision making being done by people, industry professionals, people who work in the field, and it only makes sense. It's like, would you want your local bartender designing and building your house? No, you'd want the people who build houses to build your house, but then you wouldn't want the house builder people to mix you a drink because it's probably going to suck. So like, we need the people who do the things to make the decisions about how the things are done. Like, it only makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's a no-brainer, honestly. I
think that's like, because here's the thing, like the concept of voting, there's nothing wrong with it really on the surface. Like, it actually, like, I'm not even getting on people's cases for voting if they want to. Like, even if it's rigged or not rigged, it's also not hurting you to participate in that. So if it, on the odd chance, this Occam's razor sort of thing, basically, like on the odd chance that it is actually still making a difference, go ahead and vote, but if you don't want to, like, that's also not really going to change anything because it is a drop in the ocean. But if a system like we're talking about were implemented, your voting would actually count a lot more, a hell of a lot more,
because it would be like an
smaller pool.
Vote. Yeah, and it'd be like, oh, this is all the people who know the stuff, and maybe they don't completely agree on everything, but like at the end of the day, okay, well, there we go. It's decided then.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of doctors decided what we do about some viral outbreak or whatever.
Right. COVID's a great example. Like, if a lot more things were handled via direct democracy, kind of like that, and the voting pool were limited more, it would be easier to count and easier to audit and everything. Developing a vaccine, coming up with public health standards, and like social distancing and mask wearing and all that stuff, all that could have been handled in a much cleaner and more effective way. Like 100 years ago, they handled it better.
Well, than we did, what ended up happening that go round was it became political. When this is not the virus doesn't care about your political leanings. Okay.
Exactly.
So, and I would like to see public, I mean, again, we have the technology. I've said this many, many times. We have the technology to make this very easy. Public discussion. Like, they have debates, they discuss things, they present their arguments, they go through it, and then they decide. Like, that's the right way to do things. That's how you make things better.
Yeah.
Rather than like deferring, just handing over your decision making about everything to
And
some politician, you know?
and when you're voting on initiatives or whatever, this small local stuff, it should be obfuscated, completely anonymized. You don't
Yeah.
see who is submitting the ideas that you're voting for or against. You
Mm-hmm.
just see the ideas. Like
Yeah.
you can maybe suss it out which side of the political fence it is based on whatever they're saying, but you might be wrong. The point is that you shouldn't be basing it on if there's a D or an R in front of whoever's saying whatever they're saying and just check based off of that. They
Yeah.
need to erase that. There should
I,
like
I
all voting should be
fully,
apolitical. It should be completely blacked out. Like these are
I,
these are the things that need to be voted on. You don't need to know who said it.
I, I do indeed concur wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, when you have your pamphlet that you get with all the candidates and issues and whatnot, there's the little party thing, whatnot. Um,
Mhm.
that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see a picture of the person or a name. Their candidate number 1027.
I mean,
Like,
Washington State even has this stupid shit with certain things that you can't vote on it unless you claim that you're voting with the Democrats or the Republicans. And it's like, I mean, so I just abstain from that shit altogether.
yeah.
But like,
Mm-hmm.
that's fucking stupid. Like,
It is. Well, oh, here we have another comment from Jamie C. 5800. Uh, Letting ignorant people vote is scarier than people with agendas. Well, yeah, and because it's kind of a circular thing, because the people with agendas convince the people
yeah.
that are ignorant to vote their way, and
Yep.
and that's kind of what we're talking about here. Um,
Exactly. And
like,
I mean, I've said before that I think elections should be anonymized too.
yeah,
Like you just look at what their principles and their proposals are, and decide based on that. The issues, stuff like
well,
that.
and I would almost, because we've talked about this in the past. I have this idea of, like, how do you run the show? How do you make things work? Um, what if you have some kind of expert in whatever field, whatever it is, so, like an elder, right? Elders
Mhm.
are very important. So you have an elder who's been there, they've done that, they got the T-shirt, um, and they're kind of like coordinating things, and then all the people beneath them are basically extras, just like essentially in politics. You one day you open a letter and it's like, oh well, I guess you're a senator. you know like, that would actually be better for everybody, I think, to have
Yeah.
that. You didn't choose that, like, because the role is attractive to people who want to do harm, who are potential evildoers. And so you want people who don't want to be there,
Right.
or like begrudgingly, like, okay, fine. I mean, you pay them well enough that it's like, oh, hey, nice, I got a six-figure salary. That's kind of nice. But like, they're not people who chose to go into that field. They're plucked from amongst the population to make decisions for the population amongst which they live.
How about this? Maybe the lottery system could be a little bit more like a raffle, whereas like your chances of becoming selected for that are better the more often you vote and the more often your votes aligned with what actually ended up winning, because in theory then you kind of have a big picture uh, mindset that tends to go with the majority. So
Yeah.
theoretically, you should actually have already proven your philosophy as one that fits well with most people.
Yeah. Well, and that is kind of an important factor too. That it's like we've gotten, I guess we're off the rails a little bit to where it's become this sort of like no longer are we concerned with making the world a better place. Now we're concerned with the other people. Oh,
Yeah.
I've got to get them. I have to beat them and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And it's like, okay, but meanwhile, Earth is on fucking fire. Um, like shit is not great. So why don't we try to make it better somehow? That should be the focus.
Yeah.
And we need to give that kind of power, I guess, to be able to sort of knock some heads around to this team, whoever this dream team is that we assemble. And it's got to be of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's right now, it's only the elites who are running the show. And then, but yet it's this whole popularity contest. Everybody's like pointing fingers and like, oh, here's my favorite. You know, they got the cards and stuff, baseball card kind of thing, like, oh, or your Pokemon cards. It's like, yeah, but I would like we have the resources to make really effective change, to make things better. And yet we're burning it on nonsense.
Right. And I mean that kind of circles back to the initial topic of like withholding the payment, the tax payment, until you get some kind of reassurance that we're not going to blow this fucking money anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I see no problem with doing that. And
what if we didn't have any politicians whatsoever, but instead voting was like a form? So there'd be propositions proposed by people like, here's what we want to do, here's how much it's going to cost, here's the stuff. You can go online and look it up and whatnot. We got more details. And then instead of voting for a candidate, you vote on the things you want to do and where you want the resources to be allocated to. How about that?
And whoever fills the positions to make that thing happen just has to follow the orders, basically. Like,
well, yeah, and you want, so let's say you're, I don't know, building a bridge. You would want engineers to fill that position. And it would be temporary. It's just like, okay, you're working for it's like gig work. Government would be gig work. You're there to just accomplish this thing that we want to do, whatever it is. And so if the voters decide, hey, we need a bridge here, or this bridge needs to be renovated or something like that, okay, well, now you hire the team. You choose engineers and builders and whatnot, and you allocate the funds from the funds that are extracted from the people. And then it would be a thing that people actually want.
yeah.
Like, because the people decided, hey, we need a second Narrows Bridge. That kind of thing. Or maybe, I don't know, wouldn't it be cool if we sent people to Mars? Like maybe, you know, pet projects and stuff. I mean, it's worthwhile, but it's better than destroying things here on Earth. Like conducting warfare and stuff like that. Like, okay, well, there's a place for that, but that's like the time when Canada invades the US or something. We're like, oh, okay, well, we there's a war going on. Not that that'll happen, or Mexico or whatever. It'll never happen, but still, like, whatever the case, I want to see more. Like, somehow we've got to get it to the point where the people are deciding what we're actually doing with these resources.
Yeah.
Like, at the ground level and not at the top level, because at the top level, the elites are deciding, and they're deciding for themselves. They rake in all the dough and we get nothing.
Yep. Yeah. I feel I have this spidey sense that every week we're getting closer and closer to kind of the answers to all of this.
Yep.
Like really putting together a cohesive package. And I wonder if we could, at whatever point we have like a really good plan laid out, and maybe even some little spotty data from working together with some tribal governments to run some experiments for a few years or something, get some real data, real life data. I wonder if at that point we could just put out a vote to the people, that there's no law saying you can't ask people questions, and collect their votes on something. Like, would you like to see this happen? And it's important what questions you ask, right? Would you like to see this happen? And if they say yes, and a lot of people say yes, that's data. It's just data.
It is
nothing dangerous about data.
No,
but it would be very telling if most of the country was like, you know what, that's a great idea. I'd like to see that happen.
And
well, then what do we do with that interesting data?
Yeah. Well, and you would find that most people, even politically disaligned people, would agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
This is kind of where I'm coming from, my particular angle. It's like, a lot there's like a handful of things that are kind of politically charged that people do disagree on, but like that's why you have conversations. You talk it out, you have a sit down, right? Like that's how you solve these things. And then, well, sometimes you come to the point where you're like, well, okay, well, I guess we don't agree on this particular thing, but we agree on like 99% of everything else. But when, see, the political system is built around this kind of compartmentalization and separation and conflict, artificial conflict of like, oh, us versus them and da da da. And it's only accelerating. Like, it is getting worse. And, well, I know where it ends. And it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. Another factor I just thought of that makes sense with going back real quick to the voting, having voting pools be a little bit more targeted to demographics, right? I think all women would agree that voting on things that really only affect women should actually just be voted on by women. And a system like that could actually make that be a thing, right? Like whether or not you can get an abortion. Yeah, I mean, like,
and that's definitely an angle that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that goes back to like, oh, experts in a field should be the ones making the decisions about what we do.
Yeah.
You don't want,
it's like men can have an opinion, but it doesn't affect them on a political level. Like,
what if it was like a percentage thing? Like men could propose their vote, but it doesn't count as much. But see, that's going back
they
to
only
like
count as half a person then.
Yeah. It's going back to the whole slavery
little
thing.
irony there.
What is it?
I guess that's more of an Alanis
Morissette
irony, but
yeah.
Yeah, it was 2/3 of a person, wasn't it?
Yeah. 2/3 compromise. Yeah. But maybe it makes sense. I don't know, but I don't like the idea of there being overlords. Like, in my mind, we should be building out our own communities, like your neighbors, your friends, your family, people nearby in the town you live in, making decisions about things, um, and having conversations about it, and not just leaving it to like a blind piece of paper that you check a checkbox on, and that becomes basically a glorified popularity contest, which is what we are now. Um, it
Yeah.
like obviously it's not doing us good. Like we can't say like, oh, things are getting so much better because we're voting and these politicians are benevolent and they're they care about us so much. No, they live in the ivory tower. We have to understand this. These
Mm.
people, just ignore them. It's sort of like the random guy with the mental health issue, the homeless guy that runs around and screams at the sky and stuff like that. Like, okay, just ignore him. Just let him pass. Like, okay, well, ignore him and he'll go away. Don't engage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my opinion on that, I
Yeah, I
guess.
mean that is the most effective way to handle that, because like
Yeah.
the second you make eye contact or show fear or discomfort, you become their target. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
so.
exactly. Well, I mean, I remember back in the day, me and my friend used to walk. He lived in Hilltop in Tacoma,
Mhm.
and we would go for night walks for some reason. And there's like gangbangers all over the place, like hooting and hollering, sitting on their porches and stuff like that, drinking and smoking weed and whatever. Um, and we just walk by, and sometimes they'd engage with us and be like, "Oh yeah, just passing through," and like nobody messed with us.
Yeah.
Um, but just I don't know, that popped in my head.
Well, I mean, I hung out for a time in Hilltop as well, and like I learned pretty early on that like as long as you leave people alone, they will tend to leave you alone, and if not, it's their problem, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so as long as you try to de-escalate,
Mm.
uh and or it sometimes also can be advantageous to be the scarier one. So if you act erratically, make them think you're insane or something, a
Am
little
I?
unhinged.
Yeah.
That's worked for me as well.
Did I tell you about my dad? Like,
Maybe.
he, so this is, God, he told me this story a long, long time ago. He was probably in his 20s or something like that. Um, fresh out of the Marines. And he was walking to work, I think. And it was nighttime. Um, he was walking down an alley, and there was this guy that was obviously out to do him harm. Um, that he like his hackles went up. Like, oh yeah, this guy is gonna try to rob me or stab me or something like that. And he like started kind of stumbling around, and then as soon as he got close to the guy, he was like, ah! Ah! And started yelling and everything. And the guy like ran away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was this time in high school, a friend of mine, uh, lunch was like almost over. I was kind of heading back toward class, and I see a friend of mine at the other end of the courtyard there at Wilson, and there was a couple of black guys like right up in his face, like yelling and screaming and stuff. And I just kind of walked up, had my Coke in my hand. I was like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And and my friend was kind of like, his name was Jeff, but it wasn't the Jeff from the album. Um,
Oh yeah.
and Jeff was like, I don't know, like this guy's just up in my case and stuff, and I just I just kind of calmly started talking to the guy in this like proselytizing sort of tone, like, hey man, you just take Jesus into your life, man. Like, and he was like, fuck are you talking about? And he started to get belligerent with me. And so like I just like slowly dialed it up and started like going off on all this religious talk, and then like raising my voice more and more and getting all frantic and being like, and I will rain down thunder upon your home tonight. And he just started like backing up and being like, what the fuck? And just walked off. And I shit you not, that night wasn't on the weather report at all. There was a fucking thunderstorm that night. And that just sold it.
So, the guy is like, holy shit.
Like the guy, I see the guy maybe once or twice after that, and he would just see me and go the other way, just like, totally avoid me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that works sometimes, you know, just be
well,
the
yeah,
crazier one.
sometimes be crazier than the crazies, you know.
Mm-hmm. And that might be all it takes to have the government back down, is just show a little backbone, you know.
I agree. Like people, it's like we need to turn our back on the government for one, and then we also need to step up somehow. Like imagine if it's like, oh, it's voting season and everybody's all, oh, you wear your ballots and da da da, and like Washington State gets like a total of 100 ballots submitted. They'd be like, okay, well, it's pretty hard to say consent of the governed at that point. If nobody votes, nobody even cares. Nobody that like,
I don't know if they have a threshold where they would just throw out the entire vote, though. That's the only thing that troubles me. Is
they would still count it, but it would be telling. That's the thing. It would be a show.
It might be telling, but I think it would do more damage than good, because think about the types of people who are just vote no matter what.
Yeah,
like,
and
they
oh
really
no,
the
you're
most
right.
Intelligent types.
Yeah, you're gonna get the intellectuals who won't vote, and then the non-intellectuals
exactly
will.
and that's where I think these ideas we're coming up with make a lot more sense. It lends a lot more power to the individual's voice. It allows individuals to contribute as much or as little as they want to, or as they're able to, even, you know. Like if you don't really have that much aptitude, the kinds of things you'll be voting on maybe won't be so impactful if you can vote on anything at all, you know. Like
Yeah,
it could be possible that things just don't come your way,
well, the only
and even then it should still be optional, you know. Like even if you get the ballot in the mail, like you don't have to vote, you know. Like
I get my ballot and I throw it away, because I know it isn't going to make a damn bit of difference. It the only way I think to correct the course of this ship is for people who care about what we're talking about to get into office and deconstruct things.
Yeah,
like because like you have to be.
That's the movement we're seeing start.
Yeah,
it's going to take time for that to like play out, and let's see if it works. But
it's gonna be flipping and flopping a lot, and I think I mean I understand like some of the social democrat stuff. Like I get why people are voting for that, but I don't think that's the right course. Because they're just going to keep maintaining the system. I'm talking about people who come in and tear things apart.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. We need people who come in and they're like, all right, we're going to get rid of all of this shit. Just break it apart, tear it all down so we can build it back up again. that may be the only way, because other than like some kind of civil war conflict or something like that, which I don't want to see. I don't want to see force of arms employed.
Speaking of engineering principles, I was giving this some thought over the last couple days. How so often we talk about rotting the foundation, tearing it down, and starting over, and I don't know that that's actually going to work because it's less of a house and more of a car. Like,
Okay.
like it's something that needs to remain in motion in order for it to function at all. And if you're going to repair it, the amount of downtime needs to be quite minimal. Like we're talking like pit crew sort of repairs and stuff.
Yeah.
Or when possible, like make the repairs while you're still like the Enterprise. Like they didn't go full stop every time they had to make some kind of repair unless it was the engine. So like from that aspect, I think there does have to be a measure of like surgical precision with some things. Like we have to be able to keep society moving. We can't just be like, okay, stop everything and then let's figure out how to start it from scratch. Like
it would point, be
it won't start again.
It would be chaos because people are reliant on a lot of these things. Like the structures and the coordination and organization. So yeah, you do need some clever people to get in there and do things, but you have to start somewhere. Because like I
feel like that's what we're doing though. Like that's how we start is we identify all these things, we start mapping it out, we start connecting the dots. Like if we move this thing, how many other things is that affecting, vice versa. It's not just an engineering thing. It's really, if you think about it, it's similar to mapping neurons or something. Like it's that complex.
Well, and it can't be just one person making all the decisions. It has to be a team effort,
right?
It will like we've got to
make sense that a biologist and an engineer mindset are working on this, right? Like, it is a sort of a neural net in a fashion, but there's also like foundations to it.
And we've talked ad nauseum about using AI to solve some of these problems, which would be good. Like a properly trained AI,
right,
would make pretty decent, well, probably better decisions than most politicians. Like more altruistic, because that's what I feel like. If we have like tax revenue and resources pouring into these pools, like I'd like to see it do some good to like make a difference out there. Like we need to make things better, not worse. So, and it needs to have a little bit of authority, not too much, just enough to be able to decide to nudge things, and then analyze the data. Like that's actually what AI is really good at, analyzing data. So we can have AI make a decision, take a look at it, and be like, well, what happened? Is that like just a bit, not some kind of like whole hog sort of thing where they're like, oh, we're just going to like get rid of all this stuff, or we're going to add this whole new thing. No, just change a little bit and collect some data and be like, yeah, when we push that went up. That's good. Well, so okay, well, maybe we could do more of that. And also AI, a good AI could be incorruptible. Right. So they can't be bought out, because I don't know if you know or the viewers know, but every politician is fucking bought out. They're on the like some corporate dole, And they're making decisions that have no benefit to you, but benefit themselves and the corporations. And not to shit talk corporations. I mean, whatever. There's some good ones out there, but um, but a lot of the control of the government, it's a corporatocracy, like fascistic corporatocracy, and it has been for. We need to understand this too, so that we can work together. It has been for like a century. This has been ongoing for 100 years, if not more. So why don't we fix it?
Yeah. Although I think it's definitely ramped up a lot in um the recent decade or two.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like seeing corporations as people and stuff like that, like ridiculous things like that really ramped up the power that corporations have over the government.
And it's self-feeding too. So it's gaining more power and then inducing more control to gain more power. So like it'll grow exponentially. That's the problem that we're up against here. And if people think that your country is exempt, well, the US is at the forefront of all of this. And I don't know, last time I checked, the US is pretty influential.
Yeah. I can see cracks starting to form in the German government that could eventually go the way of America. I mean, it is modeled off of 1940s American politics, and modified from there, based on the mistakes made up to that point. And it doesn't mean that all of the cracks in the foundation were visible yet. There's a lot of changes in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, like ongoing, that would show more and more and more problems. So, a system really has to be much more modular.
Absolutely. 100%.
It should not be so hard to change things when they're broken, like super majorities and stuff like that. Like I understand it makes sense on paper, but
a lot of things do.
Yeah. In practice, it's a terrible idea because nothing ever changes.
Well, it does change, but it changes to benefit the elites. That's the problem. More and more. And I want to see a system where the people are benefited, where like the greatest human good and global good, like for the planet too. Like obviously we have to consider that, like and it man, Jesus. I got too many thoughts.
Well, that's what we're talking about, could actually do just that. Like everything should be designed with that in mind. Like what gives and keeps the most power in the hands of the people.
Well, and not just power in the hands of the people, but like the people who know and want the best for the people. So that way because like you get enough people together and they make dumb decisions because they're idiots. Like most people are. I'm an idiot. Like I always say that. So like I wouldn't trust myself to make a decision about like building a bridge or whatever, or launching a rocket. Like, that's not my forte. So I want that to be handed off to those people. But we should have a common goal that is like making Spaceship Earth the greatest place to live.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And I don't see that in politics anywhere in the world, really. What I see is people getting what they can get while they can get it and causing chaos and destruction.
Yeah.
And that's no bueno.
Like, we're definitely not ready to go to another planet.
No.
Like, imagine if there was some galactic bank and you went to this galactic bank and asked for a mortgage to fund moving humans to Mars, let's say, and they'd be like, okay, well, what's your current address? And we'd be like, Earth.
But Soul 3 is
Yeah.
what it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. They'd be like, okay, so why weren't you doing your regular maintenance on Soul 3? It seems there's a big ass hole in the ozone that's been there a few decades. And look at all these fires. What's going on with all these fires? What do you do? What happened to the ocean? Look at the pH on your ocean. No, you can't move to Mars.
What are all these clouds? What are all these clouds? Oh, explosions?
Yeah.
And dropping bombs? Really? What are you, fucking Neanderthals?
Yeah.
I thought those were extinct.
Yeah. Like if anything, like, we're the pit bulls and nobody wants to rent to our owners because we're just gonna fuck everything up,
Although pit bulls are pretty cool. Well,
they are. Yeah.
If they had a good owner. Yeah.
We don't have good owners.
No, we don't. But yet we keep voting for them. And I don't know how to fix this because it's so entrenched and so interconnected. And like you said, like, it's like a car, it has to keep moving because, we've gotten the ball rolling and, well, we need that momentum. So what do? How do we fix the trajectory of the ball without stopping the ball? I don't know.
I think we're on to something. I think we're getting close, with the idea of parallel systems, for instance.
Yeah.
If your car, like, if you're Keanu Reeves in Speed and you can't slow the bus down, maybe bring another bus up to the same speed and you just hop over to that one once it's running at the right speed, right?
That would have been a short movie, wouldn't it? They're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just get everybody a disembark onto this other bus. No, that's a good point. And I think people it's fear too, that we've talked about that many times, that fear of like, well, what if I can't have the thing that sustains me? Well, there are people of means, conscientious people of means, who can pitch in and hopefully build a parallel system. That way, well, we can just hop off that bus and let it explode and it won't matter. It's like, well, oh, mind that bus. What bus? Boom.
Well, here's the thing about a brand new shiny bus that hasn't been rigged by terrorists to explode if it goes below a certain speed, is it's not bogged down with all that bullshit. This new bus isn't going to need any money for wars because it's brand spanking new.
Yeah.
It hasn't pissed anybody off yet. It hasn't trampled on other people's land and given them freedom. Like
We're gonna bomb the freedom out of you.
Yeah. Like a new parallel system would automatically be far more efficient with far less money.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could, like we talk so much about post scarcity, about waste in the government, and tax revenue honestly doesn't need to be that much to do way the fuck more than the
Yeah.
United States does right now.
Oh yeah.
Like that much can be seen, that's acultural. Like services and tax money, like that's just a simple, like, are you spending your money efficiently sort of question.
Yeah.
Yes or no. Like
Yeah, exactly.
the US definitely wastes a bunch of fucking money
A
bumping people,
lot of money. Yeah.
like, so you don't have that, then, like, I would tell people there's nothing to worry about. If anything, you have to be worried about living in the status quo. Like, it should
Yeah.
be urgent to everyone to find a new way as quickly as possible.
Well,
It's
and
only going to get harder.
it is. I mean, even just if you account for inflation,
Mm-hmm.
like inflation outpaces wages by like 7 years. So, well, and now it's actually bumped
If
up a
not
bit.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, costs are going up. Like, okay, you know what? We got to take care of our own. That's what it comes down. I have this property in Nevada, not the most beautiful. Well, actually, it's very beautiful, but it's desert. But it's a place, and it's a lot of space. And my plan is to provide space for nomadic people to hang out and stuff, and build up some kind of future. Like
Huh.
that's
If
all we can do.
if you own land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a very good philosophical question: whether you really own the land or if you're just borrowing it from the.
I had to pay property
Um,
taxes, so yeah.
if you own your land, could you sell your land to a tribal government and have it become annexed as part of their sovereign nation? I
I don't
wonder.
know how that works on the federal level. I think it's kind of
There
murky.
is still some federal oversight and
Yeah.
stuff, but like, I mean, that's a valid question, because if you do technically own the property, like, outright, you should have that right.
Yeah. Well, you could sell to whoever you want to sell to. Like, I guess my point is do what you can. I mean, people, not everybody can do everything. The elites have all the resources for the most part. But there's plenty of people of means, like millionaires and billionaires, that could do something, um,
Mm,
and like assist with this project. And why not?
yeah,
What do you want on your tombstone? That's really what it comes down to. You know, do
yeah.
you want to be like, oh, I collected the most shiny things? Or do you want to be remembered as like somebody is so enamored with your actions that they build like a fucking bronze statue in your honor? I go for the latter, honestly.
I would feel, I would feel like approaching people of those means should be done extremely carefully. Um, I'm more skeptical of those people than of the government at large, because those are the people pulling the strings of the government. Not the other way around. Like the government's not the real enemy. The fucking big money is the real money.
Well,
Is the real
it's the twain combining, the wonder twin.
however you want to see it. Like the people pulling the strings are the power comes from money. Like that's what it really boils down to. Like
well,
on the
and
top
control.
of the pyramid, in power, it comes the buying power. Like the strength to make anything happen through the power and the magic and the wonder of money. Like so that's like an undeniable thing. So, and of course, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and blah blah blah. So like I'm very skeptical of the intentions of anybody with that much money, that they wouldn't see it as just an opportunity to leverage it into the next tool of oppression.
Well,
yeah, we got to be very careful about that.
But there's people who are a little lower on the totem pole, but still have means, who would be very receptive to what we're talking about. And so I think I wouldn't go appealing to somebody with money and the resources. I'd just be like, all right, let's propose our ideas and hope that the right person finds it. And they're like, hey, I just so happen to be a billionaire. I'll fund that project.
Yeah.
Like pull at people's heartstrings. That's what the government does anyway. Right. Fight fire with fire.
But yeah, this might be a good time to tell people, like, again, we're now offering memberships on YouTube, and it's dirt cheap. So like, like this sort of thing that we're talking about would actually eventually need some kind of funding to start making real moves.
Yeah.
Like you can't really hold down a full-time job and change the world on your free time entirely without some kind of means of
well, and see, this is the crowdsourcing kind of thing that I believe in, is like, you don't have to do it all yourself. Just do a little bit, just do something, help an old lady cross the road, or hand somebody $1 or something like that. You would just do a little bit. If everybody did a little bit, like whatever you have, like everybody has something. I know maybe you don't have money, but maybe you have skills. Maybe you can, like, because I can't fucking sew to save my ass. If you could sew and help me put that button back on my shirt, that'd be great. Like, we work together. That it comes down to working together for a common goal, and the common goal is making life on Spaceship Earth better for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to describe it.
Right. So in that regard, I would maybe ask of people, like, if you can't contribute monetarily, the thing we need the most help with is getting the word out, really.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe calculate that. Like, be like, who do I know that might actually be able to and want to contribute to this cause in skills or monetary fashion? Like, if you know somebody that's got some political know-how or political sway, or whatever, like, that would be helpful to bring into the boat too. Like, actually, that would probably be way more helpful than $2 a month.
It would, absolutely, yes.
I'd much rather see that. I'd much rather see more minds getting actively involved in our discussions, in our thinking processes and stuff. Maybe even help with like building out this wiki and working on the analysis of the stuff that we've talked about and fleshing that out into real world experiments and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of work to be done.
There is. Yeah, it's a lofty goal, but I think it's worth the effort. Like, and it comes down like what I was saying about fear is people are afraid about change and about taking a leap of faith or stepping out and stepping into the unknown, right? But like, well, that's also an adventure. This is the greatest adventure. Like we like trying something completely, well, I don't, out of the ordinary, I guess, but necessary, because we've tried the old ways, and the old ways have proven ineffectual. We know this. Everybody knows this. So why don't we try something different? Why not step out into the unknown? It can't be any more scary than the current state of affairs. Like the threat of nuclear war is still actually a thing. I guess, yeah, the whole thing with Iran and stuff and with Russia. Like, what if we could make that? What if we could patch that up and fix it and make it better? And we can. It's like we're humans. We're pretty fucking smart, pretty clever. We can definitely do this. We just have to want to do this.
Exactly.
And so that's what these conversations are about, I think, is proposing ideas and encouraging people to do stuff. Like, go out in your community and make a difference. Help somebody, anybody. Like, it doesn't have to be much. It could be like knocking on your neighbor's door and handing him a thing of coffee or something like that. Like, oh, you just made their day. If everybody did that, just a little, the world would be a far, far better place.
Yeah, but we definitely need to try to find some people that are willing to stretch a little further than, you know, bag of coffee grounds. And
yeah, because the problems are bigger than, yeah, like we need a little bit more. Well, yeah. And I've actually thought I might run for mayor of Tacoma.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Especially with, you know, the body of work that we have, that people could kind of go skim through and maybe realize, you know, like, hey, like there's some outside the box thinking here that, you know, not all of it sounds completely insane.
Well, and I'm, you know me, I'm kind of like a bringing people together sort of person. Like, okay, well, hey, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. How do we merge the two together somehow to solve a problem? I just the only thing I don't want is the fucking meetings. There's gonna be meetings, and don't want that. But
I mean, don't see them as meetings, just see them as conversations. That's exactly what you want.
Well, if I were mayor, I'd be like, all right, well, okay, we're hopping on Zoom. Casey's coming in, and we're gonna have a conversation about how to make Tacoma better. Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. Like, especially because something like that would also add to the credibility of the ideas that we're coming up with.
Yeah.
Um, it would also give us more inside perspective on the way things actually do work and what
Mhm.
would be feasible and what not.
Yeah.
Because we do have to consider that, like a lot of the things that we're imagining might be a bit of a pipe dream when it comes to reality. You know?
Well, and that's why I've always said we need more people, like
Mm-hmm.
more minds working on things. Like the people who know better than we do, we're just sort of like spitballing.
Yeah,
Um, and so maybe it's impractical, some of the things we're talking about, but the concept is not impractical. Like it could
right.
definitely be achieved somehow.
I think so. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty hopeful that we're actually kind of on the cusp of birthing a movement
Yes.
that is revolutionary in philosophy more
Oh
than
yeah.
in
Yep.
bloodshed.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't need bloodshed. That's the thing. It's like you just need to do something different. That's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But what thing we need to do, that's what we're working on.
Yeah, I think I think we're taking the right approach in thinking more about how things need to be done rather than like exact things, you know, like rather than like writing down a whole bunch of things that just should be law. It's
Yeah.
more like more thinking about like what should not be allowed to be a law because it just opens the door to corruption, you know, like
Well, and yeah, and we're kind of like working on broad strokes.
mm-hmm.
So, but
Because that really is the important thing is like before we start building anything, we need to look at what went wrong with the old structure and then decide, okay, like let's not do that again. Let's not make the same mistakes twice, uh, and rather think of a a different way or a number of different ways that might be better. And there's no reason you can't have, you know, like these backup ideas kind of sitting at the ready, you know, like, okay, let's pivot over to maybe trying it that way because we're starting to see some flaws come out in this. Whereas, you know, the system that we run on now is like, but the forefathers were so genius and, you know, had all this necromantic fucking foresight bullshit, like, which no, they didn't. Yeah. And, you know, this whole appeal to tradition crap is, you know, no pun intended, getting old. So it's really just time to start new, fresh ideas and run with those rather than repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And I don't know, that's my philosophy anyway. I would hope that most people kind of, at least hearing that, would see some sense in it. Um, Even if, you know, the methods that we talk about aren't perfect either. It could hardly get worse.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and I think maintaining the status quo is fallacious.
Mm-hmm.
That like nobody thinks things are great. Nobody. So why do we keep doing the same things over and over again?
Right.
So why don't we do something different? Why don't we try a different approach? Expand our philosophy, I guess. I,
Exactly.
well, and also it's really, really important that people divest themselves from politics, from like the political system. So, because that's divisive.
Mm-hmm.
It like separates people artificially. It like the political system tells you that you're separate from the others. Well, if we don't trust corporations and we don't trust the government, why would we believe that? Like, that's obviously some kind of monkey dust that they're throwing
Mm-hmm.
to like get people to like keep going along and not think for themselves and not coordinate their own stuff. Um, it, it's very, oh, yeah. I don't know. I feel like parallel systems. There's a couple of YouTubers that I've been following. Um, I mean, I'm gonna do my part, I guess, on my property. Like everybody should do their part. Just you don't. And this is the thing: people feel like you have to do a huge amount of stuff. Like, oh, you've got to change the world right now. No, no, change one thing, affect one life, just a little. All you got to do is like a little tiny thing, and if everybody did that, well, we'd have improvements.
What are these other channels talking about?
Nomadic lifestyle, that's one channel that I follow, um where people are like kind of getting rid of the idea of home ownership. Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to live in a truck or an RV and travel and not have like a, a home per se. And like professional nomads,
Mm-hmm.
which that would go a long way to breaking that system, because so many people, like, because all the NIMBYs and da da da, and like, oh, we got to maintain property values so that whatever my investment that I put in all those years ago, I can realize that. um Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like, rent, get an RV, get a truck, travel, move around, be mobile. It like this is the one of the starting points of like breaking that cycle, because it is a cycle. Like, if
Yeah.
nobody wants to rent because they're all mobile, well then there you go. Well, that fixes the whole like cost of living thing.
For the longest time, people would always tell me I was throwing my money away being a renter. And I was like, you know what? Like, if I get tired of living here, I can just give a 30-day notice and go live somewhere else, though.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
how easy is it to sell your house and go through escrow and time it so you have a new house to live in? Like, how much fucking money do you have to shell out to be able to
I
afford to do that?
so here's the thing. I actually got into an argument with my brother about that. About like, he was like, oh, you should buy a house and da da da. And because I rent. And so I actually sat down and did the math.
Hmm.
And between all of the like the interest that you have to pay, um, inflation, the cost of upkeep, all that stuff, and then when like by the time you finally sell, inflation has basically eaten away most of the value. So it's like basically you break even if you buy a house. Like, so renting isn't that bad because, yeah, like you said, you can just pick up and move. Like, you don't got to do a bunch of paperwork. You tell the landlord, like, I'm moving. There you go.
Yeah. The only annoying thing is that rents have gotten out of control because, like the prices of houses, even though anything else would deprecate over time, houses go up in value. And it's
Yeah.
like that. I mean, maybe it quote unquote makes sense to an economist who has been thoroughly brainwashed by their their educational system to see the logic in it, but in actual logic, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and it's a scarcity thing though, because there's only so many houses and the demand keeps going up. But that's the problem that should be addressed. Build more houses, right? Like, if people are coming to your shop wanting hamburgers to your hamburger shop and you don't have enough, well, you make more hamburgers, right? That's the simple solution.
But when that does happen, you know what else happens? The value of the other houses in the area goes up. And then that brand new house gets priced right along with all the others rather than being like, oh, we have more houses now. I guess the prices should come down. No, that never happens.
Well, and that's where this whole
Never.
this is where the nomadic lifestyle comes in, is like, well, now you don't even have a house. Maybe you've got like a mailbox somewhere that you get mail and stuff, so you have an address, but you just drive around. Like, there are people in their 20s doing this now, which used to be the boomers. They would retire and they'd get an RV and they'd travel and stuff. Hey, now you could do it because, well, we've got shit like Starlink, so you can work from home, anywhere. You could basically earn a living while traveling and seeing the sights, and being able to move wherever work is, which is kind of cool. Like, we used to do that back in the 30s. That was the hobos and stuff. There was a whole culture built around that, and I mean, it's kind of romanticized now, but like, it was a thing. And now we have the modern hobo, the RV liver. I actually went with the girlfriends to go look at RVs, and holy shit, there's some awesome RVs out there. And they're not that expensive. It's like, compared to the cost of a house, like a house here in North Tacoma, the median price I think is like 400 and something $1,000, and there were RVs that were like $60,000, which I was like, yeah, I could live in that. Like, that's pretty nice. Pop out and all this stuff. So, and then like, oh, you get up into the like $200,000 range, and it's like, holy shit, this is like a fucking mansion, man. Like, this is crazy, like tile bathroom and stuff. It's, oh geez, they're incredible. Like, and then I think, why does anybody buy a house? Why would you buy a house in this day and age? Buy a fucking RV and travel. Like, and maybe that's the future.
And if you want to have a home base, just build it out of shipping containers and like make it so that you just back the RV into it and like plug it in to your house, basically.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I've got this property in Nevada. So, and it's huge. And so then if I got an RV, I've got my pickup truck, I can haul. But like, if I got a trailer maybe, or I don't know, those are way cheaper. Like, once it's self-propelled, it gets really a lot more expensive. But even then, way less than a house. way, way less than a house. And the thing about houses, you're tied to a physical geographical location. When you live in a house, you're stuck there. That's it. With an RV, well, you can just move, or you'll just drive somewhere else.
Yeah.
Can you move your house to another location if, like, the neighbor's an asshole? No.
I mean, unless you have one of those manufactured homes, then technically you could.
Yeah.
But it's not so easy.
No, that does take a team of people, but even that too is another thing. Like, it used to be, I have an old Sears catalog from the early 1900s, and they had like flat pack houses you could order. Like, oh yeah, they deliver it by truck, a whole kit. You just build a fucking house. Like, well, there's that too. That's an option. And yeah, the manufactured houses and stuff. Like, people poo-poo that stuff, but like, well, you know what? We adapt to the times, to the circumstances, and there's nothing wrong with that. This idea of tradition, that like, oh, white picket fence, blah blah blah, like, fuck that. That's gone now. I mean, even people that live in those houses don't even follow that anymore. So why not just adapt to the times and become more efficient? I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it makes sense.
I would like to live in an RV. I don't think it's technically feasible in Germany, though, especially when you see how narrow the roads are. Like, I don't want to drive an RV here.
Yeah, the US is definitely more friendly to that. And you can basically, if you stay, you can stay the night all over the place. And if you get a composting toilet to replace your, regular toilet with a black water tank and stuff like that, you can be on the road and add solar. You could be on the road for like years without like too much.
Yeah. I will say it's definitely not something you want to do if you have a family, though, like, because that does get a little bit more complex.
It does. And that, well, see, this is the thing. This is where the hybridization comes in. It's like the people who can, the single people or a couple or whatever, they can do the nomadic lifestyle, leaving the houses for the people who have families.
Yeah.
And making it cheaper for everybody. But eventually, the corporations, the corporatocracy, they're going to catch wind of it, and they're going to find a way to fuck with us.
Yeah. First and foremost, probably by making RVs become more and more expensive.
Yeah. Or
adding property tax to RVs.
Yeah. Making it illegal to park in places.
Yeah. They already do that.
They do. Yeah. Yeah. It's
because I thoroughly looked into it when I came back from Memphis for that time, when my parents became very ill, and I was like, I basically had nothing. I was effectively homeless for about a month. It's kind of living out of Joe's place.
Yeah.
And initially I was like, well, maybe I could get an RV and see if Erik would let me park there. But then I looked into it, and it's like, I'd probably get some flack from the city, like, so, like, they don't make it easy.
No, well, because that's the thing. It's like, if I freed up the driveway so you could park your RV there and live in it, and the city found out, well, they're going to find me. They're going to be like, oh, there's somebody, an unauthorized person living there. See, this is why I want to become mayor of Tacoma. I'm going to fix that shit. When I become mayor, I'm going to fix that shit. It'll be like See, I'll have to dress it up so it's all like I'm super nice and cordial and whatnot. And when I come in, I'm gonna flip my hat around backwards, and it'll be like a drill instructor, like listen up, maggots. You're gonna shape up, like, and just go fix things.
Yeah, I mean, and that is fixing things because it's not serving anybody to have restrictions like that. It's
Oh,
only hurting people. Like
yeah.
if your only means of living, like having a roof over your head is in an RV or a car,
Mm-hmm.
why penalize someone for that?
Well,
Or
yeah, and I had an idea that like if I did become mayor of Tacoma, I'd buy up, like have the city buy up some of these disused properties down in the tide flats and
Mhm.
clean them up, put in dumpsters and stuff, and then power and whatnot, and then provide services to people, and so that way the homeless people, the nomadic people, we'll call them, I guess, could live there, and like you'd have peacekeeping uh, individuals and whatnot, mental health people and stuff, um, but they'd have a place and it'd be safe and clean
whoa,
and
whoa, whoa,
cheap.
whoa, wait. You'd be giving people shelter and access to a healthier life and a less hunger and be creating jobs. There's something wrong with that. We have to stop that.
Yeah.
We have to put a stop to that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that sounds a little bit like socialism, doesn't it? Like, uh-oh. Well, no, I wouldn't be giving them RVs. It's like you could park your RV here and we'll provide you security and all that. So, it won't be too crazy. Clean up the garbage. Like, ultimately, it would be cheaper than what's going on right now.
Hmm.
And like, bring in people to, I don't know. I have this dream, I guess, that a place like that, a huge parking lot, um, where people can live freely, um, and have jobs. Like you have people from various organizations coming in to hire people, and it'd be incentivized by the government. Um, sounds weird coming from an anarchist, doesn't it? But like, how do you fix it? Like in my ideal world, there wouldn't need to be a government, but there is right now. And that's the world we're living in. So how do
Right.
you right the ship?
Use the tools that are available.
Yeah.
Play
Yeah.
the game by the rules that exist, and you can still turn it around to make it work better.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and
The
see,
only problem, like on the federal level, is just the massive spread of the rot. Like
it,
the,
it,
the whack-a-mole effect. Like,
yes. Well, the problem, see, and that's the thing. It's like no one individual can fix that.
mhm,
It'll take all of us to fix that.
yeah,
But you need to start somewhere. And well, why not Tacoma?
I fully back that idea. Like, I would love to see that happen.
Yeah.
Um, I would even consider doing that if I were still living there too. Like maybe in a neighboring city, and we could just like literally become a cancer for good. Like just start spreading like this
Yeah.
giant tumor of good deeds and
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. And oh man, imagine if you were still living here, like if we ran together.
I know we've joked about that before, like being like the first YouTube channel to be a governor or something, or
Mhm.
like
No, I like next
but
time it comes around, I'm putting my name in the hat for
it's not that
mayor.
expensive to
No,
run for office.
no, but
It's like I forget, like 10% of the annual salary or something, just to
Mhm.
have your name on the ballot.
Well, the thing I'd have to get around is the politics, because like, what would I put? I guess it would be I for independent.
Yeah, I mean, like it just hurts your chances, uh, unfortunately, in
Yeah.
this whole polarized environment. But to stick with principles
Hmm.
and stuff like that, I would personally not ever put my name in either red or blue
Yeah.
hat territory. Um, just because, like, it would feel like giving your soul to the devil at that point. Like,
Yeah, that no, that's a good way to put it. Yep.
like
Yeah.
it would really feel that dirty.
Hmm.
And it would be, because there's probably shit that comes along with that, like, oh, you signed that contract,
Yep.
now you have to do our bidding.
You're
Like,
beholden to the those forces.
yeah.
If you like align yourself with the dark side or the light side or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want to do that.
and
Like my
and
goal
I
is to make things better.
that said, I do still appreciate and support the people that are trying to run on those tickets and bring in fresh ideas and anti-establishment ideologies and stuff like that. Like, that is still important to do. Like, there's no reason we need to put all of our eggs in one basket. Like, we have to
Mhm.
try on multiple fronts to
Yes.
bring this system down in
Yes.
in the safest manner possible.
Well, and that's why it's like I find it amusing that people on both the left and the right are like, "Oh, but Mamdani or something." Like they're concerned. It's like, well, you, you do recognize the reasons, right? Like why he is popular. Katie Wilson in Seattle. Why is she popular? Like, it's because both parties have failed.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, okay, is this perfect? 100% not. Like, it's not necessarily the right solution, but you know what? It's a good monkey wrench in the interim to
Mm.
kind of like knock people back a bit and be like, whoa, what's going on here? Um, it,
Yeah, I mean, it can't get worse. So,
this is true. Yeah, this is true. Like a cat as mayor would probably be a better mayor
yeah.
than most.
I mean,
So
like, some of the stuff that Mom Donnie's been doing has been like, I mean, most people think that, like, taxes are going to go up and stuff. He's been cutting taxes. He's been eliminating waste.
mhm.
So like, all this stuff that pretty much everybody agrees is a good thing. Like, nobody wants to pay more tax. Nobody wants their tax money wasted. Like,
Sure.
but there's also just like billions of dollars being spent on propaganda
Mhm.
to label him as a communist and, bring back the Red Scare and everything. Like,
Well, I mean, he's a Marxist, but like that doesn't necessarily make him the wrong person for the role. That that's one of the things that I want to dispel, I guess, is like, sure, fine, okay, maybe he's a communist, but maybe that's what New York City needs right now. Who knows? I mean, like you said, it couldn't get any worse.
yeah.
you know, like as long as you're not like totalitarian, um, like try different ideas. What's wrong with just giving it a shot?
Hmm.
John
I mean,
Curley. Um,
communism and anarchism are almost the exact same thing, really.
There's some parallels there. But John Curley, who is a radio guy locally here in Washington State, he's a libertarian. He advocated for Katie Wilson, who's the Democratic Socialist mayor of Seattle now, because he was like, "Hey, let's see, why not give it a shot?"
I mean, the ideology isn't that dissimilar.
Yeah.
I really don't understand the problems. It's like if there's a lot of individual liberties and stuff that are at the center of democratic socialism, which is, let's be super clear, not even close to communism. Totally different thing.
I mean, there's parallels, but there's parallels with everything. So
yeah, I mean, parallels between communism and anarchism.
Well, and parallels between the Democrats and Republicans too.
Yeah,
like a shit ton of them.
I mean, they are the same, but
it's a uniparty. Yeah,
yeah. It's strange that like people still cling to those labels, and the connotation that comes with them rather than the denotation. Like that's why I'm constantly trying to tell people, like, communism is not socialism. They are completely different things.
Like, well, and you could
like,
even,
if they weren't, why would there be two different names for them? And why would there be a third name for democratic socialism?
Yeah,
like,
well, and
differences,
and like, people could, like, an outsider, like an alien looking from orbit, could look down and be like, oh yeah, the Democrats and the communists are the same, or the Republicans and the communists are the same, like, because they share these common features. So, like, are they that different? I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's where
libertarians are just Republicans that smoke pot, like
and are gay.
Yeah. Openly, at least.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of Republicans that have been found at bathhouses.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's where, like, this, I guess, it was hyperfixation on the divisions between us is not helpful. That we should be focusing on problems and solutions rather than, like, what divides us. Like, because whatever, pineapple on pizza, okay, I don't care, man.
Yeah.
Whoa, fucking fighter jets flying over. Holy shit.
Just another Saturday.
Yeah, just another Saturday. Can't quite tell what they are. Some growlers.
They're airplanes of a certain type of airplane.
Holy shit, there's a bunch of them. But it comes down to, like, we all can. Jesus fuck, what's going on?
There's some shit going down.
I don't know. Yeah, they were going fast. That's crazy. Well, it wouldn't be surprising, like Russia attacks or something. But where was I? Like, we're so fixated on differences between each other, and in that we lose our ability to solve problems because we burn so much energy in fighting amongst each other that we, like, get nothing done. Like, nothing changes. Like, it just keeps getting worse.
That's the glasses tipping moments in They Live.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, They Live.
That's what's going on,
dude.
here.
That's such a good fucking movie. Oh my god.
Yeah. Because that's exactly it. That is exactly the play. All of this labeling and infighting that's been created is exactly what keeps us from mobilizing. And
and
coming
it keeps us,
together to fix things,
exactly.
because we're so brainwashed, honestly,
Yeah.
into thinking that is what really matters. That's the most important thing. The
Yep.
label is like, oh, did you say that's a communist idea? Well, no, it's a democratic social. It's a communist idea. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. Like, okay,
Well,
well, like it's all of that stuff. Instant conversation killers. All
mhm.
those labels are conversation killers.
Yeah.
You need to drop all that shit.
Yep.
Drop it.
And because there are good ideas in all camps.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Democrats have some good ideas, the Republicans have some good ideas, the anarchists have some good ideas, the socialists, the communists, they have some good ideas. Like, just isn't the goal to just make the world a better place? Like, who cares about winning a popularity contest or whose team you're on or whatever, or what hat you wear? Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, like, I mean, really, the thing people should be paying more attention to than the label itself is who are the people that really benefit from those systems, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that has way more to do with how they're being operated than what label they're, what flag they're flying, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like, you know, Nazi stood for National Socialist. It
Yeah.
wasn't socialist.
Well,
Um,
kinda, but like
China
also
calls
kind of
themselves a republic. The Congo calls itself a republic. The
North
U.S. calls
Korea
itself a
is a
republic. North
republic.
Korea,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like all these labels that sound good, right? But in practice, they're clearly not that.
They just do whatever the hell they
So,
want to do.
so that's right there. It should be that. I mean, when you say it in the fucking name, like you proudly declare, like, we are this, methinks he doth protest too much, or whatever the saying was, right? Like, it's like,
Mhm.
maybe I'm going to look a little bit closer at your claim then.
Yeah. Well, and like for me, like I call myself an anarchist, but it's because basically that's the best description. Like I don't have a flag. Well, I do have a flag actually, but it's a different flag. Um, um, but like it is just closely aligned with kind of my personal philosophy. But at the end of the day, whatever. It's like I can sit down with socialists and have conversations about how the world should be run, and sit down with like conservatives and the same. Like, yeah, we can all like, yeah, okay, maybe I disagree on this thing or that thing, but oh, actually, that's a good idea. Um, like, if we could just get that to come together
Yeah.
and stop people from fighting over stupid titles, like that'd be nice. And stop fucking voting. Like it isn't doing any good. Like, but it's not making the world a better place. I mean, okay, hey, fine, do what I plan on doing, run for office, and then go fucking fix it, like to the best of your ability.
You're
Like,
going to need people to actually vote then, though. So
yes, yeah, I know. Okay,
that's
well,
that's what I
that's
was saying earlier. Like,
yeah,
don't stop voting. Like, if it is still making a difference in some small way, then you should keep doing it. But if you only vote because you're absolutely sure it's the only thing you can do, and you feel some sense of like, I can be complacent now. I have voted. Things will just fix themselves. Well, then you're kind of being an idiot. Sorry.
yep, yep,
Um,
exactly. Well, and research,
yeah.
like read people's bios, read the statements that they make, and and consider that. Now, of course, they're mostly liars, so take it with a grain of salt. They may not necessarily do the things they say they're going to do. But yeah, like I think voting just because you're supposed to vote is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like like if you are not informed, just don't vote, please. Yep. You know,
I agree with
also,
that.
we should be researching people, and we should be voting people in who are movers and shakers, like people who actually want to do something. And it's like, Katie Wilson isn't doing so good in Seattle right now, but like, maybe that's a wake up call to people like, oh, well, maybe we needed some new blood or something. It and maybe you could be that new blood. Like, be like, what is the saying? Be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah. Like, don't just sit there and bitch and moan about how things suck. Go out and fix the suck.
Or better yet, like, come on the show with us and bring your ideas and let's work together on building this idea of a new system that will work for everybody, because that's important too. I would argue that is more important than voting. I tell you, I work on it a little bit every day, building out this wiki, looking at like all the ideas, just kind of like skimming back over all the ideas that we've talked about, and it brings me a sense of excitement and hope and there's a real elation that comes out of seeing the potential positive change that this could bring to the world. And I want to see more people getting involved in this. I want more people to feel that same sense of elation. I want people to have hope come back. Like,
exactly.
Voting is never going to give you that feeling. I guarantee that.
Nope, it won't.
Getting your stupid little sticker that says I voted cannot compare to like the conversations we have on this show and amassing the vast ontology that we're building. Like converging philosophies and multiple perspectives, and changing minds over the years and stuff. Like that's real. That's progress you can measure individually within yourself. That's cool. That's fucking cool.
And it actually can do something.
Yeah.
Like, it can do real work out there in the real world. And like, there's this notion in the prepping community of the lone wolf, right? Oh, you're just going to prepare to go it alone when the apocalypse happens. And, some would say the apocalypse is nigh. I would not necessarily disagree with them. But like, it takes a village. You're not going to be able to figure everything out on your own. And why would you? And in this regard, it's like, if we're going to make the world a better place, we need a village. We need all the minds. We need everybody's perspectives and ideas to kind of come together and contribute something to this project, to like, because it's like we're too complacent. We have this notion of like, oh, I'm just going to check a checkbox on a ballot and send it in the mail or drop it in the box and, whatever. And away you go. And everything's going to be great, like you were saying, which is not true. Demonstrably not true. That things are not getting better, they're getting worse. So why don't we make this a community project? Because like putting your hands on a thing and building it yourself, it gives you a sense of pride and ownership of that thing. um and yeah, I know it's a little more less tangible than building a house or something like that, but I mean, building the future, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want your name to be on that placard? You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why what we're doing on this show couldn't be seen in the future the same way, like authors and philosophers like John Locke are seen now,
Yeah, yeah.
like real revolutionary thoughts at the time that
Hmm.
made huge improvements over the status quo of the time,
Yeah,
but weren't perfect either.
yeah. And our ideas won't be perfect,
Right.
but we're going to have to make changes as time progresses, and that has to be understood.
Yeah.
Nothing
And
is sacred.
there probably never will be a perfect idea, but we always have to keep striving to improve.
Yeah.
And, like that's the other thing to consider is that, the systems that we come up with obviously wouldn't really make any sense back then,
Hmm.
300 years ago or
No,
something.
no,
Like,
not at all.
it would be for a completely different time, completely different culture,
Yeah.
and economics and everything, like technology.
Well, we didn't
But
have AI back in the
yeah,
1700s.
so of course, eh, it only stands to reason that any system you build going forward should be able to change with the times.
Well,
Um,
and it
not just able to, but like a requirement. Like it really should be like a periodic, full blown audit of every fucking system. That is it still operating as efficiently as it could be? What has
yeah.
changed? Like, and that's the whole point
Is
of
it even relevant anymore? That's
that's the
another
whole point
factor.
of building this out and seeing it as a neural net
Yeah.
and realizing and working with the understanding that changing this will change all these other things, and all those other things changing with the times is going to come back through that feedback loop and
Mm.
change this thing, which by extension changes all these other things. So like when you have that understanding and you have that built in to the system from the get-go, those changes won't be so hard to make. You know,
No,
we
and
think about them in the context of how we do things now, and it's like, oh, change is really hard because of the way we have to do things. Well,
mhm.
change the way you do things, and the change won't be so hard.
Well, yeah, and from an engineering standpoint, changes should incrementally happen.
Yeah.
That it doesn't have to be either or. It could just be like a little bit. Like, okay, well, let's at least move in that direction. We,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to get to the end right now. Um, like we can start going that way
Yeah.
and like see how it goes. Like, oh, is that working? Is it not? Like, this is why that I'm actually kind of cool with like Mamdani's New York City thing. It's like, well, maybe I don't think it'll work, but like it could. Like, it's worth a try. Like why not give it a shot and see
Yeah.
what happens? Um, as long as we have the ability to pull back on the reins and whoa, like that's important, which we do. But like all too often we keep doing the same thing, repeating the cycle over and over and over again, and everybody's expecting that it's going to get better, and it doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't get better. So, well, maybe Mamdani will be a fucking genius, and like his ideas will completely spank. I don't know.
I mean, he's been like getting rid of a bunch of redundant permitting requirements and stuff to help out all these like street vendors and like the small businesses and stuff. So like
Yeah, well,
I
I
see
mean,
that
that's
as a really
good.
cool thing, like that's cutting waste. Like maybe it's technically temporary lowering income to the government from those permits or whatever, but it's going to increase the overall sales capacity of all these vendors and stuff, like
I love street vendors. I will say
yeah.
that, like the
I mean,
food
they would have to
trucks and
like
stuff.
just to even get these permits, they'd have to close their shop for a whole day to go in and stand in a line and hope they had all their paperwork filled out
Well,
with the T's crossed and the I's dotted correctly.
let's see what he does with the taxis, because last time I checked, it's like $1 million to get a license to be a taxi driver in New York. Yeah, like there's only so many to go around, or so. It's a mess. But I
Jeez.
mean, hey, you know what? These are the petri dishes upon which we experiment
Yeah.
our ideas. We try them out and see what works and what doesn't. And what works, we keep, and what doesn't, we discard. That's how it should work. It's an engineering process.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's good. It's refreshing, I guess, to see something a little bit different happen. Even when you're talking like the current US administration, it's like, well, that's a little bit different than the way it's been done. Here's an experiment. Let's see what happens. Like,
Mhm.
maybe there's some good stuff that'll come out. Maybe not. I don't know. But again, it could hardly get worse. Like it, it, and yeah, and but also at the same time, we need as ourselves to build communities,
Yeah.
local communities. Like, well, let's go ahead and like, because the federal government isn't going to solve our local problems. They don't care. They don't even know about them. So let's solve them ourselves. Like, try to fix things on a local level, um, and provide examples, information, data for this system. Um, and who knows? Maybe somebody will land on like the perfect fucking idea. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it honestly, the adventure to me of trying different things is worth the risk. Uh, like,
Yeah.
it is worth it because it feels way more adventurous now.
Yeah. I honestly, I hope to see more shakeup in these smaller elections. It would be great to see third parties start to
Yes.
worm their way in. Even though I will recognize that, like, you know, technically, I would think a democratic socialist should actually be its own party that runs separately of the DNC. But
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. The DNC like is absolutely corrupt. I mean, look at like Bernie Sanders, for instance.
yeah,
Like he got fucked by the party because he was
he
playing
definitely
their
got fucked
stupid
up. Yeah.
game. Like,
Yep.
he should have run on his own as his own person. Like Ron Paul, same thing.
Yeah.
Um, like
And yeah,
we
and
need more.
I think he actually could have won despite uh, the heavy uphill battle that would be, like with not even being on the ballot in certain states and stuff, which
Yeah.
is total bullshit. Like,
Yep.
the electoral college has to go away. We've got episodes on that.
Well, and again, we have the technology too, so it's like
right.
that whole it's antiquated. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why it made sense back then.
It's a linchpin for keeping the system stuck the way it is.
Yeah, but also pure democracy is also problematic. So how do you counterbalance that?
I mean, exactly
well,
like
saying,
we said it earlier in the show. Like maybe pure democracy sucks only because of the sheer amount of uneducated opinions diluting. You know, like everything is then subject to propaganda from whichever
yep.
moneyed interest there might be. And if you had your democracy pulling from a more demographically oriented pool of voters, you would probably see a much better outcome.
Well, and like we said, like maybe some kind of competency or understanding test would be good. I know that sounds a little bit like Jim Crow shit, but like it could be done open source to where it would be fair. Like I think if you're a voter that doesn't care, you shouldn't vote. Like somehow there should be some way of finding out if you actually care.
Well, that's why I said survey rather than a test. Like an aptitude survey, like which, okay, maybe you could say that's a bit of a euphemism for a test, but really it would just be sort of gauging, like, okay, it's one thing to say what you're interested in, but you know, like maybe just have like tiered questions in each category. You know, start off with
wait. Hold on a second. It just hit me. What if there was sort of a quiz and you didn't actually vote? It was more like you put down all of your thoughts, you know, answer the questions, and then your vote is cast based on that automatically. So you don't like pick a candidate. You just put down the stuff, your areas of concern and things that you want done or whatnot, and then the system figures out the closest match. What about that? So kill two birds with one stone, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, I think I mentioned something similar a week or two ago. But that's not a bad idea. But kind of what I was talking about is like, you know, have tiered questions, you know, say, well, like economics or whatever, like at the lowest tier question, are you interested in economics? Yes or no? And then start asking more pointed questions, getting a little bit more complex in theory as it goes. And at some point, if like it's not making sense to you, you could just fill in the bubble, like, I don't know, or I have no opinion, or you know, whatever.
That should be an option. Yeah.
And based on that, it kind of figures out, there'd be some algorithm to say like, okay, we should send a ballot out to these people, or you know, maybe on this particular issue, this person's relative education in it seems to fall into this tier or that tier, and then it could even be weighted in a sense.
Yeah. Well, and I'm fine.
So you'd have randomization and weighted voting power that varies from individual to individual based on what they're voting on.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I'm fine with that as long as it's open source. As long as there's transparency.
Definitely open
like,
source.
Everybody has eyes on it. We all know what it is. There's a whole process for adjusting and whatnot.
I mean, yeah,
that would make sense.
That definitely needs to happen. Although I will say, like, in order to manipulate something like that, to each individual would be a lot of fucking work for someone to do. So
well, that's why you don't have a someone do it.
Exactly. Like tampering with that system, even if it were not open source, would be extraordinarily difficult. And if it is open source, basically impossible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, and it would be at least an improvement over where we currently are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like I said earlier, it's like the engineering process. You don't end up at the perfect thing immediately. You don't just come out of the gate with everything being the way that it should be. You incrementally get there by experimentation, failure, adjustment, things like that. Like you slowly work your way to something better. And accepting, of course, that nothing will ever be perfect. Like, what is it? The adage, like, you can have it perfect, fast, or cheap, pick two.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Like, we'll never get to a utopia. The idea, actually, I had this whole book idea that I was working on called Anti-Utopia. But we can't get there, but we can get close. Like, we can get as close as we can. And I guess maybe the snake oil salesmen that promise utopia are the problem, because they're like, oh, I'm going to give you perfection. It'll all be awesome. Rainbows and unicorns all around, double rainbows all the way. It's going to be amazing.
What does it mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? Like, those are the people you got to be cautious of. Because they're in it for something else. They're lying. And anybody who believes that we can achieve that, you're lying to yourself. Like, the best we can do, oh, this is a Pawn Stars kind of thing now. Best I can do is a pretty good life. That's really what we should be going for, like making it as good as we can, and solving the problems where we can. Yeah, because it's frustrating to me that there's so many problems that easily could be solved that we haven't yet. We've been frittering away our resources on bullshit. And like, there are these dangling problems that we should have solved like a century ago.
Yeah.
How come? What the fuck? Cancer? Really? You know, all these health issues and food scarcity and stuff like that. That should have been solved a long fucking time ago. Like, we have the technology.
When you think about it, like, the whole world is basically stuck in the sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Like, we just got to keep voting and it'll get better. Yeah. And we need to vote harder. We didn't vote enough.
Vote harder.
Not enough people voted.
Yeah.
We need to vote and re-vote. Wait, that's not legal.
Oh man. Well, and also it's like, oh, we've already invested billions of dollars in all this military shit. We better use it too. So like, well, okay, well, what if we just didn't do that?
Right.
You know, like, what if we did like the minimum stuff we need, like defensive stuff, some Patriot missiles, and oh, by the way, we're almost out of those. So that's good. What if we had the defensive stuff and we didn't worry about the offensive stuff? Except for like minimal things where when our allies are like, holy shit, I'm under attack. Need some help. Okay, fair enough. but like, oh, we're building more, and like it's not enough. Like, oh, we can't bomb those people hard enough. uh, why don't we bomb fucking cancer or aging or something? Like, let's make it a military thing. Why don't we hand that over to the military, to the Marines? Make it a task of the Marines to like fucking solve cancer. They will. They'll do it somehow. Duct tape and crayons.
Yeah. You know how some people will jump to conspiracy theories for, like the pandemic or whatever, or pick your poison, in a manner of speaking, and they'll try to say like, oh, this is just a way to kind of cull the population and keep it in check or whatever, and like, but they never really look to the wars and say the same thing, like, are they just keeping us in war to like kill off as many people as possible? Like,
one should read Orwell's 1984, I think, to find the answer to that.
that seems to be the playbook.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, man,
and this kind of goes back to what prompted a lightning strikes twice topic that we did a few weeks from now, and that's this whole idea of like tribalism is really maintained by the presence of borders, and this whole idea, this whole patriotism thing is really just a euphemism for keeping us at odds with other human beings.
Yeah. Yeah, it is
made to sound like this glorious, honorable thing, should take pride in the particular piece of dirt you were born on. Like, but what sense does that make?
None. It makes no sense. Like, no, your community is what makes sense.
So all of that is the foundation for what we use to justify all this murder, which we call war, and that makes it okay. War is a euphemism.
Oh yeah, if like, like some kind of leader tells you to go kill those guys, then it's not murder.
Yeah, that's like, okay.
Okay, you know what? I've read the Bible, and in the eyes of the Lord, that is still murder.
Yeah.
Like, killing is not bad. Like, killing in self-defense is not bad. But like murder, yeah. Like, you decided to do that. You like, somebody decided, it's premeditated. Like, war is premeditated, so therefore one could say it's murder and following orders. Now, granted, not everybody has the choice. Some people are conscripted, and it's like, well, gotta fucking pick up a rifle and shoot those guys, I guess. So I can't really fault them, but like, if you decide and you don't follow your conscience to say, no, this will not stand, be an army of one. I mean, I have that bumper sticker on the back of my truck, army of one, because I believe in that concept of like, that's how we should behave.
There's also the concept of nullification. Like,
yeah,
you can pick up your rifle and shoot, but you don't have to be a good aim.
That actually happened throughout history, where soldiers would do that, intentionally not hitting each other.
Be the stormtrooper,
yeah. Oh man, that's a good.
There should be a video where stormtroopers are like, "Man, this guy Vader's a dick. I'm just gonna shoot kind of in their direction, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, maybe
Like,
that should be a t-shirt for one, like be the stormtrooper. But that has been proposed as a concept for why the stormtroopers have such bad aim, is because they don't want to do it.
yep.
Like they're like, this is a stupid war.
Yeah.
Like they actually side with the rebels, but so they're like intentionally not shooting at them.
When you realize they're all clones of like one person, that even makes a lot more sense because
Yeah.
they probably all think the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's, I mean, yeah, that, like, yeah, okay, sure, drive the tank into combat and stuff like that, but you don't have to necessarily point the gun correctly.
Right.
I mean, all right, if they're pointing guns at you and about to kill you, then okay, fine. It's you or them, fair fight.
Then that's self-defense.
Yeah.
But everything else, nullify that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If it's unjust,
Yeah.
like we should be doing that more and more. I think. Like I'm a huge fan of the military, but like there's a point where there's some stupid conflicts that shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got them all going on right now. I was actually one of the thoughts I was going to bring up as a lightning strikes twice is like, are we actually in World War III now? Because it kind of feels like it. All these different countries getting involved in all these conflicts and shit, and like the Middle East is kicking off. It's crazy. Um, there's a whole new like pact being formed there with like Saudi Arabia and some of the other countries. Like they're like their own version of NATO, essentially. It's like,
well, and I've heard some buzz about people are expecting Putin to really notch things up quite a bit.
against NATO countries. Yeah. Yep.
And
We're
just kind of in general, like a lot of the stuff he usually does is very sleight of hand, under the table, behind the scenes stuff, but they're expecting him to kind of start flailing a little bit more and getting a little bit more unhinged.
Yeah. Well, he's been unhinged for a while.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't surprise me. I'll say that. And I would hope that saner minds would prevail in that situation, because that's like basically poking the hornet's nest to see what happens. And I don't want to see that because, well, hey, NATO's got nukes. And yeah, don't want to be anywhere near that. I don't know. Yeah, but just imagine what kind of amazing shit we could accomplish if it weren't for all these stupid wars.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, we'd be exploring Proxima Centauri by now. Like, we'd have people hanging out, orbiting the star systems there, like checking things out, maybe making first contact or something. You never know. But
I
oh
saw
no.
I saw a great political sign somebody was holding at a protest. It said something to the effect of like, why is it that when somebody is struggling with money, it's always like, oh, just don't buy a latte or an avocado toast or a streaming service, but it's never like, oh, maybe just don't go to this war or buy a mega yacht or fly to the fucking nearest planet. Like, why is that never the conversation? Like that's where all the fucking waste really is.
I mean, trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's just the US. Just burned. Like you ought to see the F-35 program, like how much that fucking cost. Um, and that's one jet, just one. You know, like yeah, like we do live in a post-scarcity society. Like just the US as a powerhouse alone could supply the entire needs, food, energy, whatever, defense for the whole world, and have plenty left over. Like we'd have resources left over. Like, oh yeah, you want a yacht? Oh, here's a free yacht. Like, yeah, we've got plenty left over.
we we just liquidate all the billionaires. We just like seize all their shit and just like pass it out. Like,
Yeah, like Oprah or something.
yeah, you get a yacht. You get a yacht. Everybody gets a yacht.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm not talking about just the private sector. I'm talking the public sector. Like we have way more than enough
Yeah,
to do stuff. We're just choosing not to, and then we're subverting it by voting and acting like that's all we got to do. That's where the path ends. Like at
yeah.
the voting booth. No, no, that's the fucking beginning, man. Like that's the beginning of the path. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
Like
very frustrating.
all the problems that people are like, oh, we paid for that, and you just point to anything, an F-35 or something, and say, there you go, just one less of those. You know,
Yeah.
like yeah, it's actually really easy to point at all the shit we don't need
Mm-hmm.
and fix like at least one problem with just one fucking chunk
Yeah.
of that waste. Like it really is that easy. Like
Well, exactly. It's the like the F-18 and the A-10. Those are good enough. That pretty much solves everything. They're old ass fighter jets, and they work, proven, battle proven. We just maintain them, keep them around. There we go, good to go. I guess if some weird shit happens and we need some kind of new autonomous drone technology, okay, we'll develop that. But like one thing, we don't need 20 things. You know, like okay, fine. We'll take all that money we were going to spend on that stuff and divert it to solving a problem. Like because there are so many problems. War is not a problem to solve. This is the thing. Like war is a problem we manufacture. Like you okay, sure there are exceptions to that, but like we make that happen. Like it didn't spawn out of nowhere. There was like stuff leading up to that, decisions made. But like cancer is a problem. Hunger is a problem.
mm,
Shelter is a problem. Like why don't we work on like, we could easily solve those problems. I would say okay, fine, war is cool. Like sure, we can have war, but the only way to justify war in a non-defensive fashion is if we have our own house in order, right? Every problem we could possibly solve has been solved on our home front. Then we can send our technology into combat and our people. But like that's never going to happen.
yeah.
But if I were king, that's how I would decree things.
Well, yeah, like at least then you could actually have a position of moral superiority and be like, okay, you guys are really doing some backward shit. Look how we cleaned up our house. It's time to spank you until you see things are like
Set it
rather
straight.
than yeah, rather than like bringing them democracy, we bring them kitchen sink microscopy. Like, you know, the flag I would design wouldn't have colors to it. It would be transparent with like a little faded image of Earth in the center,
Yeah.
like and the rest of it is just see through
You
because
know,
it should be open source, transparent. The people can see what's going on all around the world, and we're all
yeah.
human and we're all
Yep.
here on Earth. So, like,
Actually, what would be my addition to that would, yes, a transparent, like, see-through flag, um but it would have in the middle a little black square with a pale blue dot.
mm,
Earth viewed from, was it Voyager, from like millions of miles away, just a teeny tiny dot. That's
yeah,
that's where we are.
it's much
Like,
easier to draw too.
yeah, you're just like, take your paintbrush and here it is. All right. But the symbolism is important to recognize, like, all the stuff, this, like, we think so many things are so important here on Earth, but it's like, yeah, if you were to zoom out, they're meaningless. The aliens that live in Rigel or whatever, they don't fucking care about the politics of Earth. They're like, oh, there's some weird radio signals coming and whatnot, and uh, but like beyond that, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care about who was elected president or whatever, um, and neither should we. We should
Yeah.
be concerned about taking care of our house, ourselves, spaceship Earth. Like, let's work together to solve problems. If somebody's a bully, all right, well, we'll go beat them up. Sure, that's what you do to bullies.
Yeah.
But beyond, and then you help the people that need help, and we build it better so that everybody can thrive. Like, build a better system. Like, here's the thing, and this is why, like, I guess maybe my divergence with socialism is, socialism, the end is just giving people the things they need. I don't, I agree with that in the short term. Like, yes, all right, sure, there's hungry people, let's feed them, but then let's make the system better so people don't have to, they don't need it anymore. Like,
Yeah.
the goal of socialism should be that socialism becomes like unneeded.
I mean,
Becomes obsolete.
on the big picture, that is exactly what it's about because
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about handing food over. It's also building a better education system, more access to it, so that people, it is teaching them to fish,
Yeah.
not just handing them a fish. You can't do one or the other. You have to do both.
Yeah.
Like, it
Well,
is
sure.
about the whole picture, like even the idea of this flag, the transparent thing with the black square and the pale blue dot, all the problems, all the people, all of it, it's all included in that flag. That's your all lives matter.
Yeah.
That's that really encapsulates what that phrase should mean,
Mm-hmm.
and takes it to that level. And and that's how I see these democratic socialist sort of platforms, and kind of how that works here in many countries in Europe too. Like, these systems do actually uh, run very efficiently and create these sort of scenarios where people can lift themselves up with that little bit of extra help there. And yeah,
Yeah.
there's some imperfect parts of it, places where certain people can exploit certain things. They just need to be fixed, polished up. But it's
And
still a
that's,
much better system than what the US operates on.
well, and I like, we can take the best of all systems
Mm-hmm.
and put them together and discard the worst of those systems too.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, we know what doesn't work, so how about we stop doing that?
Yeah.
Like, we'll start with that. That's an easy thing. Like, inaction is simple. It's free. It costs you nothing. You just
Yeah.
simply have to just not do it. Like, I mean, so yeah, and I'm not like averse or like dismissive of any particular or accepting of any particular philosophy. I think everybody's got something to contribute. And that's where what we're doing here, I think, is really important, is taking all those contributions and putting them in a bucket. And also we need to test them. We need petri dishes where because everybody has an answer until it doesn't work. And then they're like, whoa, why didn't that work? Well, okay, but let's do it on a small scale, like a city or a county or something. We'll try a thing and see what works, what doesn't work, where the failure points are, and then we'll make improvements. And let people move around and live in those systems, because people want different things. So how do we accommodate all the different things that people want? I don't fucking know. Um, like, I have no idea, but maybe we can't. Maybe it comes down to like, well, everybody kind of needs their own little corner. So like the people that are into pineapple on pizza want the pizza places. They want to live in a place where pineapple on pizza is common. And then there's a place where pineapple is illegal on pizza, so that nobody has to suffer that. Um, and that's fine. We can have that. Um, it, I just what we're doing right now is not, like, globally, the way things are operating. It's not the right way.
Yeah.
It benefits a select few on the backs of everybody else. And that isn't right. Like,
Yeah.
we have the technology for every single human being to thrive right now. And somehow that isn't happening. I guess that's my point of frustration.
Yeah. Yeah. The only the biggest problem I see with toppling that particular uh, problem is the source of its power. Um,
Yeah.
the money itself, like that. Uh, you can't take power away from that by ignoring it. Like you know, for whatever argument you might have for that coming to politics, when it comes to economics, the one with the most money gets their way. Um,
It's a sad fact, yeah. And
and yeah,
it's
like the only way I can see to actually topple that is to take away the money. You know,
maybe,
at
but
some point that has to at least shift in such a manner that, like, that's definitely something that will have to be addressed. Probably one of the most difficult things to find a new way around, um, admittedly, but absolutely vital. Like, because it will find a way to corrupt any new system eventually.
well, yeah, and like basically getting to like a Star Trek sort of point.
Yeah,
And
because
I mean, it's a faith-based
it
system.
can always buy the propaganda.
Yeah.
It'll buy the media, pick
Well,
the story, and infuse it into the brains of everybody so that you lose the power of numbers. The
Yeah.
power of money is always greater than the power of numbers.
And it's a faith-based system. So the only way to circumvent that is to like bring people to some kind of realization that it's all a faith-based system,
Yeah.
so that they realize it's like, okay, you can still participate, but also recognize that it's an illusion. um Politics and money, like, but it'll have to be done incrementally. The only way is to like surgically tackle each thing one by one. It's kind of like, if you think about it from like a military standpoint, you've got like Germans up on a hill in a pillbox, and then you got snipers up top. Like, okay, well, how do you deal with it? Well, you can't just deal with it all at once. Yeah, yeah. Like, you have to take it out like one by one thing at a time. And you have to prioritize, which do you do first. Um, it, and that, well, that's beyond my comprehension.
Yeah.
It's something like that. But at least recognizing that that has to happen, that's the first step, I guess. Like, realizing you're in a war zone. Like, oh, yeah, like this is how it is. I think that's important. Getting that out is probably the first step. So you can get some brilliant minds to kind of start working on it,
Mm-hmm.
and picking off the stuff one by one.
Yeah.
Triage really is kind of where we're at. Like sorting things, like, okay, what's the most important thing to deal with? And then we'll go down from there. Um, like the most critically injured soldier, essentially. And well, I think the political system is probably the biggest problem that like, and it's the easiest to solve, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to say, because, like I said, you you tear down one government, put the next one in,
And
however
it
well
just
intentioned they might be, and then
yeah.
the money comes along and buys up their ideology and tells them what to do. Like, if you don't get the money in check, or let's say at least remove the money from the elites who are currently in the global power position,
Mm-hmm.
whomever they may be, um, you will just keep running into the same problem over and over
Well,
again.
I think detaching the elites, like creating a
From
disconnect.
the earth and just injecting them into space. I like where you're going with that.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
like, I think disconnecting that ability to manipulate the system from the top could be a good first step.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Because like, it's
what
fine
we're talking
if there's,
about. Yeah, like finding ways to prevent corruption as much as possible.
yeah, so
But
the people with the means can't manipulate the people who can pull the strings.
right.
That right there, I think,
And
would
like
go
we
a
talked about
long
earlier,
way.
like with anonymizing politics more,
Yeah.
it would make it a little bit harder for moneyed interests to know where to shovel their money to.
Well,
Yeah.
because at that point, it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't do anything
Right.
other than buy shit. Like, okay, well, fine, that helps the economy.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating jobs by buying shit. That's good. But you can't meddle with the political structure. I would say, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it should be law that if any of that is detected, even a hint of that, firing squad.
Yeah.
Like public execution. If it like so to make the politicians absolutely terrified of like so somebody comes in and tries to buy them off and they're like, well, we'll get out of here, I'm gonna be fucking executed.
Right.
Maybe that, like, go big or go home in that regard.
Well, and transparency would go a
Oh
long
yeah,
way too. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
If you're going to work in politics, your tax returns, your uh, redacted transactions, of course, but like your bank accounts and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
any suspiciously large influx of money becomes unredacted,
Mm-hmm.
and people are able to follow that trail, things like that. And actually, lobbying should also be uh, heavily penalized.
That's a firing squad
Yeah,
situation, lobbying. Yeah.
yeah, like for the recipient and the person doing the bribing, because
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's not lobbying; it's bribing.
it is. Yeah.
Like those do actually, yeah, they need to be very severely deterred,
Mm-hmm.
but also have systems like transparency, open source, you
Yeah.
know, like we talked about in the episode a couple episodes ago, AI running the executive branch sort of thing could be direct line of communication from individual to the very top and say,
Yeah.
these are my concerns. What can be done about it? What are you doing about it?
Mm-hmm.
Is anything capable of being done about it? And if not, why not? Like,
Yeah. Actually, AI could do that. Like,
mhm.
there could be like a federal chatbot that it like has its finger on the pulse of everything.
Well, you know what?
And you can ask a question, and it's like, oh, well, that's maybe there's a matter of national security or something. You're like, well, keep spies out and stuff like that. But like
Three or
just
four
the day to
years
day
ago, 3 or 4 years ago, we actually even did an episode I'd even forgotten about, where we talked about whether AI should actually be running the judicial system.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, so we even kind of touched on that idea just more in the judicial branch than the executive branch. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's good arguments for that, like hybrid systems, of course, at least at
Yeah,
the
yeah. That
beginning, just to
that
see how
actually
things
makes
go.
sense.
But
Yeah, having a hybrid system where like I think we should be employing AI a lot more as a like general purpose tool, I think.
hmm,
And maybe an arbiter when it comes to a lot of decision making. Um, it, because well, humans are pretty mucky when it comes to making good decisions.
yeah,
And well, and if you have an AI system that has been trained on the totality of its populace, like all things, it'll be likely to make a decision that's fair. And I
hmm,
think fairness is probably about as close to perfection as we can get. Like, we're never going to, not everybody is going to have their needs met. Not everything is going to be the way everybody wants. But if it's fair, at least, I think that's a
hmm,
pretty good start.
yeah, and yeah, it would probably also be good on on a meta level to sort of have, I don't know, some institutional requirements for anything that is made out to be a legislation. It needs to tick some certain boxes, like is this objectively good for the majority of people?
Yeah.
Like, is it or is it only serving the few? And that also includes the government itself. Like, there
Mhm.
really should be no laws at all that are just there to protect the government from the people. It needs to be the other way around.
I agree. Yes. There's definitely, that's one thing we wholeheartedly agree on.
Yeah. Like this, yeah. I mean, of course, there can be situations where it goes both ways, like it's protecting the government because otherwise it would hurt people, like, so of course there are some situations like, yeah, you do have to pay your taxes because if you're not, it's hurting everyone else, that sort of thing makes sense. But like, like poking a fucking security guard that works at a federal building or something, and that's like life in prison or some shit, like those things are just extreme nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
um
that's where I think AI could help sort that out.
mhm.
Like, and we have legislators, right? That's what all these politicians are basically. Why don't we have a team of de-legislators
Mhm.
whose sole task is to go through and look at shit and find out if it is even relevant anymore, or like call it into question, like, well, what's this all about? We need de-legislators.
Right.
um
Like law libraries should not be allowed to expand. Like,
yeah.
if the laws are just running out of space to put all the law books, well, it's time to clean up the library.
Well, and also we can have AI, maybe, or a team of people alongside AI, sort of clean it up and make it a little simpler. I always, my I guess benchmark is what I call the 10-year-old test. Like, if a piece of legislation is incomprehensible to a 10-year-old, it's invalid automatically. Like, a 10-year-old should be able, like, there has to be like a team of 10-year-old kids who look at something, and if they can't make heads or tails of it, well, throw it away.
I mean,
Like,
ideally,
reword it until they can comprehend what it's talking about.
ideally, the amount of laws really should be kept to a minimum because
Yeah.
if you're going to operate on the concept that ignorance of the law is no excuse, um, you have to at least make it feasible that most people would know most laws just kind of by heart. And for
Yeah.
that to even make any sense, most of them should really be fairly common sense things.
I could,
So,
well, that's a good point. That's very good. Because, like, I could just in Washington State, we can go to the RCW lookup page and I could just pick a random one and ask a random person on the street what, like, RCW blah, blah, blah is. And I can guarantee you 100% of people, even cops, would be like, I don't know,
yeah,
like any random RCW. And that's just
we're judges or lawyers.
judges.
Like,
Yeah, that's why
it
why do they have those libraries? Because they got to look in there and
right.
look shit up. Like, you should know the basic stuff by heart. And this is something that I've been advocating for a long time, of like, we need to simplify it and get it down to first principles. So, like, there's a set of foundational principles upon which everything else is built. So everything should be able to pass through that filter. Um, and so most laws at that point would become obvious.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, well, that's an obvious. Well, yeah, I know the answer. I mean, maybe I don't know the verbiage necessarily, but I know the gist of that law because it falls into this category. Like, why do we not have things operating that way? Why are there? Because, like, you can go into any stack of law books and there are things that contradict each other. Like,
Yeah.
how is that a thing?
I mean, if laws are there to kind of, in theory, at least,
Uh-huh.
protect other people from harm, then if you've broken a law or whatever, the officer should be able to explain to you why your actions may cause harm to another, to the point where, like, anyone, like, would actually then, upon being, having that explained to them, would actually be like, okay, yeah, I can actually see that.
Yeah.
um and I feel like that's just kind of a cultural difference. Like, here in Germany, like, the cops are presented as your friend,
Mm.
and they carry themselves totally differently. Like, they're not, chest puffed out and, like, looking for trouble everywhere they can, or they're just, like, walking around and smiling and laughing and talking to each other and, like, talking to other people. And like, and when you do get pulled over for something, the the infractions are very cheap and you can pay it right there, and it's just done with. And they'll even, like, sit there and have a conversation with you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've just kind of sat there, like, looking out the window at work one day and saw somebody get pulled over, and, like, obviously I have no idea what they were saying, but I could read the body language, and it was very, like, non-confrontational. Like, the
Mm-hmm.
guy even got out of his car. Like, if you did that in America, you'd be shot. like
Could
like
be, depending on where you are. Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, even though it used to be that way in the 70s, where you would get out of your car and go walk back to the cop, but now
Mm-hmm.
you would just get shot if you tried that. Like, so, you know, it really should be so simple that a cop could just come up and be like, I pulled you over because of this and that. And, if your turn signal isn't working, somebody might think you're going straight and keep going, and you're actually kind of turning, and there could be an accident and someone could get hurt. Oh, okay, like, I should have used my turn signal.
Actually, no, that's a good point, especially when it comes to traffic stuff. It should be a more public safety goal
Right.
of where, like,
But
they're
that's
not
just like a
looking for.
conceptual example,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, they're not
you
looking
know
for anything additional. It's more like, hey, just wanted to let you know
mhm,
this thing. Well, in
yeah.
my anarchist world, that's how it would work. There would be cops, but they'd pull you over and be like, dude, your brake lights aren't working. You better fix that. Like, just come on.
Yeah.
Here's a coupon for AutoZone or whatever. You can get yourself some bulbs. That's how they'd work in my world. I'd like to also see the return of beat cops
Mm.
in the US. I think that would be way better. Also, more like horse cops. That would be kind of neat. They do exist in a few places in the US, and but they're part of the community, and their purpose ought to be public safety. Um,
But
that's
they're
it.
they're kind of they're kind of negative, because every time they vote on something, the horse cop always says nay.
Wah, wah. But that would be, I guess, a better, because, like, they should be a net benefit, and their goal should be public safety. Like, let's keep the peace, maintain order, just kind of check things out. If somebody needs help, we'll help them, that kind of thing. I mean, I've that's been largely my experience with cops. Like in recent years, I had a cop, like I got stuck because my transmission went out in the middle of a busy road, and I had a cop like help push me out to a side street. And then he just buggered off. He's like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I called AAA. And he's like, okay, see you later. And that's how it should be.
Mm.
Like just making sure everything's ticking along.
Yeah.
I like, or if somebody is actually in need of help, they do come and help. Because obviously there's some unhinged people. Cops do need to use force at times, but not because your tail lights burned out or you have a warrant or something. There's better ways of managing that, but I don't know. Oh man, well we're over 3 hours in.
Yeah.
A 3 hour tour. Man, some good stuff though.
Yeah.
Just,
well,
yeah.
yeah, we definitely covered a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
And I'm looking forward to how it will all tie together someday and in a way to put this out to the world. And
We'll have an AI written book. We will edit it, but we'll have an AI like assembled book with all those thumbnails that been creating as part of it.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll definitely make the world a better place, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Takes a little elbow grease.
Yeah, a little sacrifice and
More
thought
people.
and conversation and things. Yeah. All righty, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out and having a conversation with us in the comment section. We had a couple comments, so that's
and
cool.
Consider becoming a member.
Yeah.
It's dirt cheap. And
yep.
It'll go toward a good cause of trying to make all the things that we're talking about just become a reality someday. And,
oh yeah.
And just help everybody. That's the ultimate goal.
That is. Everybody. Yeah. And how do we do that? That's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
All righty.
Well, it's close to midnight here.
Oh, Jesus.
Bladder is full.
All righty. Well, and see you all next time. Peace.